All right. Let's see what's going on. Let's see here. All right. Testing one. Testing one. Oh, good. We are live. What's going on, everyone? Good to see everybody here this evening. What we got in the house today? Get my phone here. Both phones, I should say. Photography Light Magic's in the house. Hope all is well with you, Chris. What's going on? Good to see you in there. Xbox Rocks, evening. What's going on? John Devon. Good to see you in there. Good afternoon, Chris. And subs. Digger, he's in there. Hello, Chris. What's up? Not a whole lot, man. Just hanging out with you folks. Jason McVeigh's in there. Hello, Chris. Jason Motorhead McVeigh is in the house. Mark Pathini's in there. Good evening. Kane Mosley, James Cregan. Good to see you in there, James. Emil Bassoff, 3. Evening from the UK. Eyes of a Falcon. Hello, Chris. All hope you are all well. We are. I think everybody else is too. John Devon, drum roll. Photography Light Magic, you said, I really appreciate the hard work you have put into your videos over the last few weeks. I really enjoyed watching them. Well, I appreciate that. Well, here's the funny thing. I mean, I was so busy this beginning of the week that I was like, well, I try to put out at least 3, right? So I was like, well, let me try to get these out. So it was like I had 2 of them within a day or that same day or the next day. So I said, let me try to get these out because I did have them on basically on the burner. So I said, let me just finish them up and get them out, So Lucky Moles in the house. What's going on? Hooray, you made it, you said. Yes, you have. He says, hello, everyone. Richard, hi, Chris. Hope you're having a good weekend. I am. I hope you are too. Renee Von Oosterhout is in the house. Hello, all. Elohim Daleth. Hello, great rebar evidence in the recent video. Yeah, I thought that was kind of strange myself when I saw that. Like I said, I go up on the, I've got my own, Facebook page, my Mars Anomalies Facebook page. And of course, I'm part of the UFA, family, basically, United Family of Anomaly Hunters. And so they find all kinds of cool stuff on there. And some of these people, they just can't, do it themselves. So I said, well, or they don't have a YouTube channel. So this is the best way to get their work out. So, and you guys know, like I said, I try to give everybody, the credit for their work because I'm not going to take that credit. I don't feel that's right at all. More Piazza in the house. Hey, Chris and everyone. Libby T, good to see you there, Libby. Michael Bailey, nice work on the last few videos. Love your work. Eye-opening stuff. Well, I mean, it's, because a lot of you guys, well, I wouldn't say a lot of you guys, but there's a few of you had said, you said, man, sometimes it's hard to differentiate the, like a rock and is there something sticking out of that rock? But this one here was like hands down. There was just like, yeah, there's no way around that, man. No, they're not, the Subway, drink fresh. Oh, anyway, so, they're like, that's unmistakable. There's no way you can mistake that, right? I mean, you can't say, well, that's clearly a rock. And that's why I said that. I actually had myself laughing at that because a couple of you guys laughed when I said, you got to screw loose if you believe that's a rock. And some people will still come over there saying that. You almost can guarantee it, right? Just no, it's not there to convince people. It's just to get them to open their eyes and look at it, right? So, yeah. Dennis Bailey's in the house. Mr. Gassama? I don't know how to pronounce that. Gassama? Kane Mosley. Hey, Chris, I'm new to the chat, not the videos. Thanks for what you do. Well, I appreciate you there, Kane. Welcome aboard, Hope you subbed and hit the notification bell so we can get the newest videos out. Dennis Bailey says, New Hampshire here. What part? I know I've been... my mom used to live up in just north of Londonderry. This thing just jumped on me. Hate it when it happened. There we go. Andrew Munchkin's in there. Hey, Chris. What's going on, Andrew? Yeah, Libby, you're right about that. You said I spent an hour looking today looking at that GigaPan. Tons of stuff in that one. Yeah, it's what I recommend to everybody. It's like, listen, zoom in, but don't get so because here's the thing: you can get on that link, right? Click on the page, look at it, and of course you can zoom in only so far. But you can also hit your control button and your little positive and negative on it to bring the page up a little bit more, so you get more zoom. So, but you don't want to go to the point where you're into the grainy parts of it, and then you start seeing these weird things and start getting trippy. You don't want to be doing that. You just want to zoom into the point where you can still get detail, and get up as close as you want, but still get detail. But when it starts to break up, yeah, you're way in too close. You zoomed way too close in there. Josh D's in the house. What's going on? You said hello all. How are you all? Thanks, Chris, for great videos. I appreciate that. Rachel's in the house. What's going on, Rachel? Good to see you in here. Hi, Chris. Hi, everyone. So glad I caught the stream early. Yes, I'm glad you did too. Because last time I think you were like, "Oh my God, I just got here." So I hear you, Mr. Gossamer. Thank you. Appreciate the support. You said that was a great video today. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I try to get these things out because when I see these things, I get excited, right? So if I see something really interesting, I said, "Man, I got to get this out. This is just cool." And I think a lot of you guys will really enjoy it, and you'll agree. Because sometimes here's what's funny. You get these people saying, well, it's a power suggestion. So if you say it's this in the video, everybody's going to follow suit. And it's like, so you assume that nobody has a brain. Is that what you're saying? It's like, yeah, that may work to a certain degree. You get that power suggestion saying, yeah, it's this. And if I tell you it long enough, you're going to believe it. No, because a lot of you guys will say, well, I see it a little bit differently, or I disagree. So I'm glad that people do that because it shows that you do have your own brain, right? I mean, but sometimes you get these people, these trolls that come in there to just say anything. So it's to be expected, right? Photography, Light, and Magic, you said the last Mars video was insane. Those tube things, there's no rock, and maybe the weather balloon. That's what it is. It's swamp gas, too. It's surrounded that. Oh, too funny. Yeah, Dennis Bailey, you said, I see you're on Saturdays now. Yeah, I decided to change it up for all the friends over there in the UK. A lot of them were like getting on there, and then they were like, man, I got to go to bed. It's too late. And you're talking about 5-6 hours ahead of our time now. And what I do is at first I initially moved the time back so I'd give them more time, but still they were finding themselves in, it was Sunday and then they're going to work the next day and they couldn't stay on live on the stream. So they kind of just took off. And I don't blame them for wanting to do that because I'm the same way. And I've said the same thing. This is the reason why I moved it too, because I said, well, I got to work the next day as well. And the only day really I have off is on Sunday. So I decided to move it on Saturday so we can do this early. You guys get the next day off to just chill. You don't have to worry about the evening. And have to worry about, I got to leave. I would like to hear the whole thing, but got to jump off, go to work. So it works out for everybody. I thought and I think maybe it didn't work out for maybe a few years, but most years it did. So yeah, that works. You know what I'm saying? So I think it works for everybody. I think 95% of the people, right? So yeah. Sarah Michael, thank you. Appreciate the support. Much appreciation. See, you guys are the best, man. It's like, there's a lot of channels out there that will ask for this stuff, and I don't. So, I'm very humbled by it, and I appreciate all that you guys do. But just the fact that we have a good channel here with good people, it does my heart good too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't think I've seen a better chat room. I've been on a few, trust me. And, some of them are just like completely like pandemonium. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. Daniel Vargas, I like that. Nice Subway plug. And no, they're not sponsoring me, but it's like, I don't know about you guys. You ever have the sweet tea there? Stuff's good stuff there, man. So you're like, no, I'm not sponsoring, I promise. No, I'm not, I promise. It'd be nice, but no. But yeah, any kind of support you guys, whether it's just right here saying, about the work and stuff like that, any kind of monetary is always appreciated. And it's just, like I said, it just blows my mind every day. Everybody's willing to help out and stuff like that. And it just does my heart good, Daniel Vargas, what's up from Brooklyn, New York? New York is in the house. What's going on, Daniel? Good to see you in there, man. Jason McVeigh, you said, yes, the bent metal rebar looking stuff was insane. Oh, yeah. I mean, when I first saw that, first thing I thought of was that. I thought it was rebars, like bent or some kind of weird, like just picture like a narrow dome instead of something stretched out. Something like this was built and maybe it was concrete around it or whatever it was. But if you could stand that thing up, it looks like it would just come out like this, like different, like spidered off in different directions. And it'd be like this weird, narrow little, I'm going to use its concrete tube or some kind of metal tube. That's what it appeared to me. So I don't know. What do you guys think? If you could stand that thing up, what would it look like? One guy actually called it that. Well, woman, it doesn't matter. I think they said it was something that looked like it reminded them of some kind of weird mechanical spider. And it kind of does. If you could stand it up, that's what it has, like a center, and like these things just come off of it on every direction. So yeah, Mark Matheny, thank you. I appreciate your support, man. You guys are awesome. Like I said, um, you know, it, it's like I said, I come on here and I just can't wait to get on here. In fact, I was actually busy. I was talking to a few folks, good folks there, and texting and stuff like that just before I got on here. I said, man, I gotta go. I gotta get on this live feed, man. And I love hanging out with you guys because, like I said, first and foremost, it's like-minded people. I don't know how many people have come to my channel. I said, you know what? Every time I talk to somebody about this kind of stuff, because they got it in their head, right? And they're saying, I'd love to be able to talk to people about it. But when I talk to people I know, whether they're friends, their family, local, maybe their coworkers, so they look at me like I got three heads. Now I've actually done that in my job, and I don't get that. They kind of like look at me like, really? That's interesting. I never knew that. Instead of going, oh my God, this guy's out to lunch. They don't do that. They're literally saying, wow, that's awesome. Or they're just like, and some of them, believe it or not, they're already on board with it. There's a woman that works there. She brings a handicap kid. He actually works in with us. Great worker. You couldn't ask for a better worker. And she talks a lot about. She says, my husband and I. She said we sit home and that's all we talk about. She said we watch ancient aliens, anything to do with that. Discovery Channel. Sometimes they have on these kind of shows like that. And she said we just love it. We sit there, we talk about it. So, and then there's people that say, yeah, we actually sit down as a family and watch that. You watch your channel. I'm like, what? Which I never thought that was like, the whole family would sit down for that, right? So, that's what I'm saying. It's just awesome to see that stuff, and that's what really, it just does my heart good. Andrew Munchkin, that's a good idea, man. Let's get a subway on Mars. Can you imagine that they get there and there's already one there? Well, you guys got to eat. Cosmic Knight says, hit that like button before you forget. Hey, Chris, how you doing? I'm doing fine, Cosmic Knight. I appreciate you being there, man. Mark, Maxween, you said pyramid on moon. It is us real or makeup, but I truthfully, I don't know. I mean, to me, like I said, this is an official, get it? It's a official Apollo 17 photo. Okay. I don't believe what they're saying, though. I showed you guys a before and after photo. According to them, they were like, they took a couple snapshots. I don't know if it was by accident or whatever. If you read that page that I gave you guys, that link, what they said was, oh, a couple times they shot off a couple pictures just before they were regular, they were ready to change the magazine, the film magazine. I'm going, okay, I get that. And I understand that's a possibility, right? Because you got to remember they had these big gloves on and they had the cameras on them, the Hasselblads and everything else. I get that, but nothing in there. Even if you were to change that, position where they were shooting downward towards the seats of the moon buggy or rover, whatever you want to call it, even if they changed that, somehow moved up or down side to side, still doesn't equate to what we were seeing in that fuzzy kind of crap photo, right? I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. I think that's an actual photo, and they completely washed that photo, trying to get rid of anything in there. And a couple of you guys said there was kind of what looked like these weird darker areas. And you're absolutely right about this, because I looked at this photo again. And while I was watching my own video, because I, try to see if there's any, screw ups and everything else, even after editing, still have to go over it, right? So what I found interesting was right on the left-hand side of this pyramid type thing, I seen what this looked like, where it had that looked like these, I remember I said the artifacts or something that they were trying to take out of the photo, but because it was washed, you couldn't see it. Well, when I seen that after, it looked like some kind of weird darker area piece on the left-hand side set back as well. I'm saying, man, I think there's more to that photo than we're really seeing, man. There's a lot more to it. And, you can only bring out so much in a washed out photo, right? And that's what I didn't like. And, I would like to get a whole lot more out of that. Dennis Bailey said Exeter. Oh, okay. I got you. All right. Yeah, that's a nice country up there, man. Puckhead Manny says NASA, not a space agency. Well, they're space agencies, but they're, they're not forthcoming in the truth. Let's just put it that way. On some things, no problem. And like I said, I respect them for everything that they do. Like I said, new technology comes out of that kind of work, gets watered down to us or gets brought down to us in a fashion that us consumers can use. And the idea of space flight and wanting to get out there, be spacefaring, the whole I love everything about NASA. However, I don't like the BS that they pull as far as like you're not telling the truth about what's really going on because these photos say it all. Now, a couple of you guys, even some people that come on the channel, right? They're like, "Hey, listen, what happens if this is nothing more than it's Earth and they're just playing you guys?" Okay, don't they still have to answer to the public? I'd love to see these scientists start to jump on board and actually say, yeah, I mean, even though these, maybe they've seen a couple of YouTube channels and said, yeah, I get it that they're YouTube channels, but we've taken the photo ourselves, we've analyzed it ourselves, and found that they are actually correct. The stuff is actually being hidden, and it simply doesn't make sense. And they should be like saying to Congress, don't give these guys a red dime until they start telling the truth. That's the way I look at it. And like I said, I've been talking about somebody had sent me a page, and I don't know if the name off the top of my head, but they sent me a link about it was about the Spirit rover, and I'm not going to get into too much of it because I'm trying to do something with this. I'm hoping to get a hold of the person who actually made the article. That would be interesting because they found some discrepancies in the Spirit rover, and what I've been saying about them sending because there's an omnidirectional on an antenna on all of these rovers. Now, I think except for the Sojourner just talked basically to the lander, and it didn't go very far anyway. Anyway, right? That was the one in 1997, and then you got the ones in 2004. You get the Spirit and Opportunity rovers. Okay, so they have an omnidirectional antenna that's to talk to the actual orbiters. Now, keep in mind the orbiters are moving where the rover is not. So it has to be omnidirectional. It can't be direct. It can't be like, a precision antenna, high gain going to these because you only got X amount of window. This thing's probably flying like kind of like the ISS is like 17,500 miles per hour. It may be somewhere equivalent. I don't remember off the top of my head, but so they only have so much of a window. Omnidirectional is the best way to do it, to upload the photos. And once the orbiters are coming closer and facing Earth, they then shoot the information back. Well, it also has an X-band antenna on it, a high gain antenna. I can tell you this, that they're sending photos in both ways, meaning they're sending photos to the orbiter and then to Earth, but they're also sending photos directly to Earth to three computers, to the quantum computer over in NASA JPL. And I'm not going to say too much more about that, but it's confirming what I've been saying all along, the two different radios. And basically the actual article also says that there's information being overlaid the original photos. And that's not BS. That's the truth. And this is coming from a guy who actually works, is very good friends with the guy that works at NASA. And it was actually breaking down the code, the binary code to the information from the Spirit rover and found some discrepancies. Very interesting read. In fact, I haven't even finished reading it. I really haven't had the time. I've been bouncing back and forth between work, doing the videos, and then I read a little piece and I have to jump off of it. So yeah. So it's basically the article is confirming what I've been saying. The only difference is I can only speculate because I don't work for NASA. So obviously I can't, I can only speculate. That's what it comes down to. But it's now confirming what I've been saying all along. John Devon says, yeah, a bit late. I left early. Such a great chat last week. Listen while driving. And well, yeah, you did say that, didn't you? You said you're going to be driving, so you'd listen in. So I appreciate you doing that, man. That's what people do that. They're just like, well, I got to go to work. So whatever, or coming back or going to work. So they don't bother, right? James, you said, hi, Chris. Great and top ace work from you again this week. Man, missed a hangout last week, was working the nights. Well, I don't blame you. But looking forward to tonight, big time. Just checking in with you, you the man. Well, I appreciate it, James. Band troll hype. Yeah, pretty much. Scott White says, hi, Chris. Good evening from Scotland. It's obviously there's been structures on Mars before. Why doesn't NASA just come clean? I agree. And the only thing I can think of is, like I said, they're getting their bosses, right? Probably the DOT, the Department of Defense, or the military, is telling them, listen, this is what you can say and this is what you can't. Because you can almost bet they have a boss too, right? Not just a little CEO of NASA, but actual boss of him. So somewhere there's a chain of command, and you could bet they have to, abide by that. It would make sense, right? News Now, Ohio. LOL, Chris, you're a space denier? No, not at all. What the hell? Hold on. Make sure this thing's right here. This page. Okay. Okay. That's better. Want to make sure the thing was in live chat so we get it up to date here. Steven, I don't know how you can be. He says something about he's blocked. You shouldn't be. Photography Light Magic, you said if we seen the photos untouched, just as they took, you would probably shit yourself. I, for one, would love to see. Oh, yeah, and I agree with you. I totally agree. I mean, I would love to see this stuff. I mean, I can't even imagine. You've seen the large screens, right? That NASA JPL having their control room, right? These things are like, boom, like, it's just huge. So imagine them things coming in, at least the ones that are untouched. Imagine the ones coming in. It's like boom, these people they're actually seeing them undoctored because they're the ones going to do it, right? Picture being like part of the CGI department. Can you imagine that? Like, oh my god! But they've probably seen so much of it now they're just desensitized. It's like, okay, let's go about our business, get rid of this, get rid of that, da 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 da. And of course, the bosses and the higher ups, whoever's seeing this stuff, are going to see it all first. Okay, now pass it on to the CGI. You got to do your thing, and then off it goes to the public. From what I understand, these things are literally like a month behind. Believe that if you will. They're like a month behind. So of any photo you see today is actually a month ago. So we're actually seeing it then, and it makes it's kind of like makes sense to me in a way because they have to have time to do it all, scrutinize it. Maybe they're looking at it first and they're scrutinizing the photos. Then they pass it off. And then, of course, they go through a chain of CGI people, so on and so forth. Then they finally upload it and everything else. It makes perfect sense. I think so. Ricardo Laporras, hi. Mars Anomalies, greetings from Brazil, bro. Hey, good having you in there, Ricardo. Shammy Dooda's in the house. What's going on? Yo, Chris. Hi to you. I'm really fascinated by the dark side of the moon structures, especially the tower shard structure. Are you doing any more videos on this subject? Yeah, I mean, you could go to my Lunar Anomalies and Beyond page. I started. It's all moon there. I decided to, kind of switch them up a little bit so we can actually separate the two. So you can have everything all in one spot and everything over there. And if case something went stupid on YouTube, I have like another fallback channel if I needed to or whatever, which I didn't expect to. But there are changes coming to YouTube starting the 10th right through January. From what I understand, they're doing a sweep of every channel on YouTube. And the ones that are basically focused on for child activity, anything to do with little children shows, anything to do with like video games, anything of that sort, and other channels too. Depending if you are partnership with them or if you are, if you got over 1,000 subs, if you're monetizing, all of these things come into play. And if you don't monetize or you do not have over 1,000 subs, there's a good chance you're on the chopping block. And of course they're going after other channels too, the ones that were like attacking other channels and all this other stuff. So, but I think it's more or less, if you've been listening to what they've been saying, I guess it was Congress or whatever, they were in there saying, listen, from now on, we're going to make YouTube uploaders responsible for their work. And if it's anything that's bad, if you're still, let's say I was making a video about Legos, and obviously it's going to draw kids in, right? So what they're trying to do is they're trying to keep everybody that's 18 and above off them said channels. So what they're going to do is they're not going to monetize them anymore, which kind of sucks for these good uploaders that are doing like cool stuff for, either video game playing or doing like new toy reviews or for kids and whatever else. They're basically going to get the shaft, which I don't think is right. Because a lot of these guys do great work. And but I understand where they're coming from. They're trying to keep these weirdos from these children, and I understand that, and it just makes perfect sense to me. But there's going to be a lot of, it's going to be a lot of things and changes going on. Like I said, from the 10th of this month right through January, January itself, they're going to be actually doing a real big time sweep. So, yeah, we'll see how that plays out. Abs0303, what's going on, man? Good to see you in there. Cheers from Bendigo, Australia. Good to see you in there, man. MC Gamer, what's going on? Alien Tenno's in the house. Let me see here. Cross up 4123. Hi, Chris. A little bit late to the party. That Maz vid with the red. Well, you said red bar, but I know what you meant, rebar. Mad just cannot cover that up. Well, yeah, it's again, it's like they're leaving these little breadcrumbs, right? Because why didn't they just cover that up? Because, like I said, at the base of that, when you're watching the video where I showed you, like the base of it, you can see where there's like, look real carefully at these whited areas, right? You'll see like these little squares, like they're literally just like doing a pattern. It's digitally or whatever, and they just white it out and stuff like that. So they cover up whatever's there. But why not continue to cover the rest of that? Why leave that there? There's got to be a reason why they're doing it. And you know as well as I do, if it's a slow drip disclosure, that's exactly why they're doing it. Moonman, good to see you in there. He said, hello, friends. Hello from Istanbul. Good to see you in there, man. Robert Morgan, he said, hi, day early? No, we've actually moved it, Robert. We were doing the Sundays, but it was more convenient for myself as well as, more importantly, the subs, the ones that are overseas. So we decided not only to, if you remember correctly, we were starting it at 7, and we were going to 7 to 9, and sometimes it go even longer than that, right? So, and then we decided, well, start it at 5 and go to 7, maybe 8 tops, right? Excuse me. Tea's killing me. But anyway, so, and then I decided, well, let's go ahead and move it. Let's go ahead and move it because go check out Mr. Sub. Throat gets real dry. So we decided to move it on Saturday because it was just more convenient. It works out for everybody. L&L X, greetings from Nova Scotia. What's going on? John Devine, yeah, the $5 Mars sub sandwich. Ain't nothing better than a BMT, brother. Rachel, that's a good question. Why doesn't anyone ever talk about the crop circle with the alien face and the numeric algorithm? Someone found a message in its numerical sequence. Yeah. Well, if you remember too, Rachel, they had it was a message, right? Was that the one that had the message in it where it said something like, telling us to be careful, watch what we do kind of thing? That's not verbatim what it was said, but what they were saying was they broke it down, and it was that other one too that they did. That message they sent back, the one it was on that we sent out in the probe, it shows like our DNA, it shows where the location of our planet, and of course, it had the male and female person standing there, and basically it was like a roadmap how to get to Earth kind of thing, or just showing where we are. They sent a message back with that, and as well as that big alien face, and it's basically I think it was like holding up something, and of course, I had all of that information where it needed to be broken down, and they did do that. I found that interesting. Emio Basoft, you said, hi, Chris. Well done for keeping it real. It seems lots of researchers online are losing the plot on what they are seeing. It's refreshing you are consistent. Well, I mean, that's if you're genuine, you'll always be consistent, right? You don't have to make the stuff up. It's there. It's in the photo. Now, although you have the people that are just like you said, a lot of people say, well, you get these people on there, and no matter what you tell them, it's not going to matter. They're just going to deny it anyway. It makes you wonder if some of these people actually paid to deny it. But regardless, it's not. I'm not focused on them. I'm focused on the people that are really doing their own research as well and finding some crazy stuff. Because I get people, you guys hit me up here and there saying, "Hey, man, you got to check this out." In fact, I haven't checked my Mars Anomalies Facebook page, and a couple of you guys had sent me some messages, so I will look that over. Well, I won't do it after this because I'm going to actually run and do some more Christmas shopping. Awesome. Yeah, it's just a couple of psychopaths you have to fight in the mall. Other than that, it's fine. So, so yeah, that was pretty cool, Rachel. Some of that stuff that's in there and that message, good stuff. It's like you don't hear about it anymore, right? It's like, what's up with that? Libby T said, I'm telling you, that looked like a silo to me. Yeah, yeah, you're talking about like that because it was laid over, and if you picked it up, well, it kind of had the shape of a silo. But keep in mind, this thing probably wasn't very big. If I had to guess, I'm talking about 2, 3 feet high. I mean, because you can see from a distance how it's on the ground. You can see it just, goes up to it. Now, it's off in the distance. So obviously, as you get closer to it, it's going to get larger and larger, right? It's like if you throw a penny on the ground, how big would that thing look from a distance? Well, very tiny if you could see it at all. And as you get closer to it, obviously it gets bigger. So I'm guessing that thing's probably. Oh, there's a police car. I swear I didn't do it. Anyway, so you got this thing, and if you were to stand it up, I'm guessing it's just a guesstimate. I'm thinking 3, 4 feet tops. Um, but I'd have to look at it a little bit better. I love it when they have the actual rover in the photo, at least a tip of it or something. Gives you some kind of, just by eyeballing. If you could stand there, like put your arm on the side of this rover, how far would that thing be away? It'd still be a guesstimate, but at least you get a little bit better guesstimate because you don't know how far that rover's even zoomed in, or if it's zoomed in at all. This is the reason why sometimes people say, well, what do you think the scaling is on that particular object? I don't know. There's no scaling in the photo, and therefore you don't know because you don't see the rover. So you don't know if this thing's zoomed in. If it's not, just no way of knowing. And at one time, they used to put a lot, well, not a lot, but they used to put scaling on some of these larger photos. So it gave you some kind of guesstimate. So, and you just don't see that anymore. Peter Ferrero says Project Enterprise agrees, definitely a pyramid. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are seeing that. I mean, all you can see is a pyramid. And what you see is like daylight behind it. You don't see like, like it's on the ground. Why would daylight be peeking through that? If anything, it'd be coming this way. It's just weird. That's why I said that whole configuration of the way they're saying it looks like the uh, what we're seeing is a pyramid, but what they're showing is no, it's not. It's part of the buggy seat or what? Come on, stop. The boss, she said, "Are you a flat earther?" Not only no, but hell no. I don't believe that crap at all. Not even a slight fan of it. In fact, if you go on my channel, I have just look for the title, "Our Earth is Not Flat." Actually, disprove it. All these whack jobs in this day and age still thinking that crap. If we seen, okay, we already did that. Let me just jump down. This thing just jumped up on me. Let's see. Chris says, greetings all from Wales, UK. Good to see you in there, man. Rachel says, the message from that crop circle sent shivers down my spine. Not long after that alien message and face it drew a crop of the communications later on. It looked like a spinning dish. Yep. Remo Conan put on there, anyone seen the video with Richard Hoagland or of seeing domes on the moon with the comments on landing near pyramids in Camelot before being congratulated by the president for landing on the moon? Yeah, I mean, there was actually a video. I don't know if you guys have seen this, and I forget what mission it was, but they literally were panning over. You got the lander here, and as they're panning over, you can see the astronauts are moving around the equipment and stuff like that, and on the ground. And they pan over, you can see this white block, and then all of a sudden they just start going back. And I said, well, look at this crap. That's neat. There it is. Photography Light Magic says, what NASA is doing is a fraud no matter how you cut it. I agree with you. Give them that. Yeah, exactly. And that's the truth. It's like I wouldn't give them a red dime until they come out with the truth. No, boss. The boss, it is not a flat earth channel. Rachel says its communicating device has two spinning wheels on both sides with a grid-like metal with hollow grids on its dish. Hope you're reading this. Oh yeah, you said on there. Emil Basov, you said on there they use telemetry, Chris. Oh yeah, absolutely. Ricardo, you said on there. I wonder what the big authorities will say when the crap hits the fan. Basically, they're going to have to come out with something like real quick. Oh, guys, sorry, we lied. It was in, trying to protect everybody's safety, kind of thing. It's like, okay, if it's ruins on Mars, what are you protecting us from? And so we all know it's BS. Yeah, come on. Bye, bye, boss. Fake news. What news? What news are we talking about here? Not talking about any news. That's how you can tell the trolls. The trolls come out at night. The trolls come out at night. Oop, just trying to get to this thing. Bush Corey's in the house. What's going on, man? Good to see you in there. Mike's in there too. Mike Hoover. Mimi Reacts. They're all in there. Rachel, he said, I think the message said believers of false hope and their deception. There's still time, conduit closing. I think the alien message said something along the lines from my memory. Yo, you're absolutely right. Almost for word, too. As soon as I started reading that, I said, boom, that's what clicked. And yeah, you're absolutely right. A lot of people will say, all of those were faked and everything else. You know how, remember when they had supposedly there's two guys with they had this rope and they had like they're like a 2x4 or a 2x6 on the, and they're kind of like flattening out. It's like, come on, there's no way. Maybe that started out as that crap, but when you see these intricate things and they're done within hours, if that, they're literally done. There's no, footprints going to these crop circles. Now some of them will be on farms, so you'll see like where they ran their tractor or baler or whatever it may be. You can see those, so you can probably get to those without being, having footprints in there and discovering that. But there's some areas, period, they don't have a footprint going through there, and yet these things have. There's these crop circles in these like cornfields and stuff like that. I think that start off as a fake. Nah. Who knows? Maybe they're using some kind of equipment up there. If we're doing it, if it is actually faked, then we're doing some kind of laser thing where we can make an impression on the ground, and it's just there. Kind of like a cookie cutter, you just and it's there, But I don't believe. I don't know why they would do that and what the meaning of that would be, but who knows? Remo Conan, you put on there. Where is this pyramid near the rover? No, this is actually in Apollo, an Apollo. Mission. It was Apollo 17, and what it was that supposedly the way if you go to the link, it actually shows like photos in sequence saying like it went up to 77, 78, 79, and then 80 showed the rover, and it was like a little hazed out, like some light over it and stuff like that, like kind of like a lot of sunlight was kind of like glaring off. Get this lens glare and flare and kind of thing going on. Then 81 was missing, then 82 was there. But in between, it had that pyramid. Now, they just want to say that is what we're seeing. They took it by accident, and this is what you're seeing. It's an actual photo. Then my question would be this. Let's suppose they're telling the truth, right? Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's suppose that it is the actual seating of that buggy. Why are the other photos clear and that one's not? It should be just as clear, right? It's not. If it's the same distance away as the other two photos one prior and one after, then they should all be pretty consistent. I mean, you have the light, a lens flare or glare, depending on how you want to look at it. And it should be just like the camera should be just in a slight different position, but you should see things pretty clearly, and yet you don't see any of that. So that's why I think they're just trying to cover it up and just say, whatever. Yeah. Sophie, no, absolutely not. He said, sorry. Okay, so you think the Earth is flat or not? No, not in the least bit. Ted, Papa Mac, you said, hey, they're coming to get your Coke. Actually, it's a sweet tea, but better not take it. I'm not going down without a fight. Disclosure is coming, too much evidence coming out. Dr. Z. Smith says. Absolutely. It's getting to the point, it's almost like they're doing it purposely by the Pentagon showing what they showed, the Tic Tac UFO and all these other, because you got on the West Coast is UFOs, on the East Coast is UFOs. We're seeing that they released it. Why would they have to release that? Because people are starting to see this stuff more and more. It's not just the jet fighter pilots seeing this stuff. It's people from the ground that are seeing it. So it's coming out more and more and more. In this day and age, when everybody's got cameras, I mean, hell, you see something, you automatically got a camera out. I mean, so yeah. Um, at some point, I mean, it's like they're just kind of like building up. And this is the reason why you hear this CEO from NASA saying, well, I think this year coming up in 2020, we're going to find life. Well, why? How are you so positive about it? Before you said, oh, there's no way there could possibly be any life on there. Now, don't get me wrong. Science is like that. Science progresses. So what they thought 10 years ago might be totally different now. Kind of like, Mars. They said there was no water on there. It's completely barren of it. Well, wait a minute. Well, we found that there's water in the soil, which they knew that. And back in 75 and 76 with this Viking lander, right? They knew this. I mean, it started to dig and it found like a permafrost underneath the sand. And of course, they just left it there. The sunlight got to it and it melted. Well, what about every day when it gets up to 70 degrees, which they don't tell a lot of people. But when you read it, I actually had a guy say, well, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. I think it was my last live feed. And you guys could go to the last feed and see it. It's funny. He says, you don't even know what the weather is on Mars. Jeez. Stop lying to the public. And I gave him links. And he says, you act like you're a credible source. I get it because I get credible information. And then I proceeded to give him 3 links. One was from WikiLeaks, the other one was from NASA, and everything about water and temperature, actually more temperature on Mars. And it says it get up to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So, I mean, and it gets even warmer than that, but it can get in the equatorial region and get to 70 plus degrees. But you don't read that a lot. They always say, oh, it's below freezing all the time. No, it's not. No, it's not. And NASA claims this itself, but why aren't they making this more mainstream? But now that they're coming out more methane, oh, wait a minute, we found more oxygen. Now we're finding more water. Wait a minute. See a pattern here, guys? Throw all of this together. You're finding argon gases. You're finding all the... It screams life. Guaranteed. 2020 will definitely show it. They'll come up with life. Oh, it's small microbial. We found something. It's much more than that. Much more than that. I'm going to jump all the way to the bottom here, guys, because I know a lot of you guys are probably saying hello and, they might have comments or questions. So if I did not go over your question or say hello to you, just go ahead and post it again. Roy Searles is in there. What's going on? Shammy Doodah, 75% of the world's oceans are undiscovered in depths uncharted. There's got to be an alien craft that has crashed in these oceans and buried in the water. Yeah, and that's a good possibility. Now, do we have proof of that? No. But I believe there could very well be, because we don't know, man. Like you said, I mean, you go to the Marianas Trench, right? Deepest part of the ocean in the planet. What I find amusing is, people go, well, you've never been to Mars, so how do you know any of this exists? Never been to the Marianas Trench either. Does that mean it's fake? I mean, you just can't, you don't have the right to just call it a fake just because, you haven't been there. I mean, I could say the same, I've never been in the Marianas Trench, so clearly it's fake. And, because prove it. Well, sure, you can get on there yourself. Good luck with that. So yeah, I just find it amusing. Sometimes I'll be hit with those kind of sarcasm, and I think it's just hilarious. It's just ignorance at its finest. Mike Hoover says, when wise women and men choose to stay quiet, fools multiply. That's a fact. Alien Tenno, yeah, you're right. The biggest cover up is Mars' big blue sky. Well, like we did, they had that weird looking plane type video where, I mean, as soon as you hit, auto tone on that, Photoshop literally pulled the color right out of there, and clearly it shows a blue sky, like my shirt. It's like, what are you kidding me? So what's going on here? And like I said, when they put the Mars Insight lander on the moon, the Mars, when they put it on Mars, and like I said, they literally showed the live, and you can see this video I think you can actually put in, look at the search bar, I think, Insight Landing on Mars. And what's funny about it is when you see these guys, they're all in the control room. They're looking at this monitor, and it's probably maybe a 50, 60-inch monitor on the wall. And they get the first pictures. Oh, wow, look at this. And of course, the first picture has all these blotches, what look like little sand splotches all over this, the camera, right? But what's funny about it is when they take another photo, which I don't know how there's dirt come off the lens. Imagine that. But anyway, it comes off the lens. It's a blue sky. Even the people, you can hear, if you listen carefully, they go, oh, wow, there's a blue sky. It wasn't 10, 15 seconds later, orange. Why? Why the cover up? Why do that? That tells me it has a little bit more atmosphere than they're claiming. Now, again, let's put all the pieces together as a puzzle. Like I said, water, methane, oxygen, blue sky, so on and so forth. There you go. Noodles, what's going on? Good to see you in there. You said, hello, Chris. What's going on? Mimi reacts said, I wonder if Martians escaped to Titan. Well, some scientists actually believe they might have came here either through the theory of panspermia, or well, you don't see too many mainstream people talking about maybe they came here maybe because of the catastrophic event. But if it was pending, it's like us. We're looking for any kind of giant rocks floating out in space or hurling towards space. Now we had some come, was it 300 million miles from, from Earth, and some a lot closer between the moon and Earth. So now they're trying to really keep an eye on it, because think about it. What would happen if we got whacked with a rock? And I said this in my other video. If we got whacked with a rock the size of Texas, it's game over. Basically, say you love yourself, you love your family and friends, and hope for the best. If it's maybe a tenth of the size of that, like a size of a small island, yeah, it's going to be catastrophic to a certain. But everybody will live on; it'll be fine. But so they're trying to find these things. And can you imagine if they knew there's some large rock hurling towards space and there was no way around it? Well, you see these guys jumping off, either trying to, maybe the president going to the ISS or whatever, and whatever. But to me, it just wouldn't make any sense. So you'd actually die in this thing. So, but what if you had a civilization on Mars and something was going to hit Earth? No, we're in two places now, so you don't have to worry about it so much. In other words, life will live on, right? So, yeah. Dr. Z. Smith says, yes, it has recently been discovered that there is much more oxygen on Mars than first thought. Absolutely. And what's funny about it is you see more of it now. That's what I find bizarre. They're starting to come out with more and more of these steps. So now it's going to be easier to introduce life on Mars. Imagine that. Appreciate it there, Kenneth Lair, you said on there. And let me go ahead and, it's funny, I got two mice. We'll call it mice right here in front of me. Chris, have you had a chance to look at the two emails I sent back in September 7th and began? Oh, I'm sorry. And again on October 6th was 10 photos of Gigapan pipes, etc. And then torn open craft with a goddess hood ornament on top. I think I did see that, but I'm going to go over it again just to be sure, Kenneth, because like I said, oh my God, it's been crazy. I'll be truthful with you. I haven't really been on my email a whole lot. This is the reason why I say it's actually easier for me to get them on my Facebook Mars Anomalies page, because that's the first thing I check in the morning. I'll check any, comments on my YouTube, and then I check it on my Facebook. It's the two quickest things I do in the morning. So being truthful with you, I really haven't checked a whole lot online, but I might have already checked yours. But I'll let you know, because I'll give you a reply to your email, right? But again, I appreciate your support. But yeah, we'll definitely check it out. I don't know if you have Facebook. If you do, send them there too, because I like to check them out if I haven't seen them. Because like off the top of my head, I don't remember. You can't even imagine how many emails I get, and I try to answer them if I can. But see, like on Facebook, I'll try to go through you guys and I'll say thumbs up when you guys send me something. Hey, Chris, is this what I found? If you ask me to look at something, I will try to look at it. And then if I find something interesting, I'll say, yeah, it's cool. Let's go ahead and feature that in the next video. Or I'm not seeing enough detail. I'm just being honest with a lot of people. I don't want to jerk them around. I'll just say I don't see enough information in there. And it's not to hurt anybody's feelings. It's just being truthful, right? That's why I tell some people actually they zoom in big time. And I go, try not to zoom in, because I can't get a perspective if you're too zoomed in. And if you do, then you get like a whole area and then show a square and then zoom it in. And then it's so much easier to be able to tell, maybe get a guesstimate of size and what we're looking at, or something in the surrounding areas. It helps. That's why I love doing these gigapans, right? It's cool. Mark, no, I haven't. You said, have you heard or seen anything about this planet going by Earth and Sun? No, I haven't. I hope you're not. Well, I don't think you're talking about Planet X. I don't think it's that one, is it? Let me know. Yeah, guys, slam that like button. I can see 143 people are watching, 65 thumbs up. Slam it. Slam it good. Josh even says, yeah, right alien Tenno. The sky there is often more blue than here. Well, what's funny about it is this, it's a mirror image of Earth, believe it or not. It goes through the seasons just like we do. I think it said only gets like 3 months of summer. Well, if you think about it, what's your most intense summer? It's about 3 months. So, I mean, you'll have it a little bit cooler before, and obviously cooler after. You got your spring and your fall. So it makes sense. But it has the same seasons, guys. It's pretty much the same as Earth. And now that we're seeing the blue sky, that they showed, and then of course they helping put the filter over it. And like I said, if you guys are not familiar with that, look at the Molly cam on the Curiosity rover. And I think a lot of these rovers, this is the reason why you see like Spirit rover and Opportunity, they were mostly black and white. Think about it, because they just want to show it in black and white. But the newest rover, when you got the Curiosity, and actually has a door on the Molly cam, they can just open it up, and it's an actual orange filter. Open and close it. So when they want to see the real deal with all the colors, it's a normal camera. Well, wait a minute. Let's make everything look like the same color. And what that does is two things. One, it hides any of the blur that they might put over that, and maybe little different things, or blends everything whole. And you can't see anything. You can't see anything of different color, so you can't make out what it could be. So, and of course, there's probably other reasons, but why do that? If there's nothing to see there, just take a photo, damn it. Just take a photo. It's RGB. It's what the eyes can see. It's the same wavelength the eyes can see. Show it to us in a normal photo. What do you got to lose? Why the obfuscations and the, manipulation? Why do that? It's a dead, cold planet. There's nothing to see there, right? So why do that? And I showed blatant, proof of blatant manipulation in the photos. You can see it clear as day. Insight has picked up many quakes, but only 25 are Mars quakes. Others are smaller. The article, Astra, someone said that they come and go and sound like trains in New York City. Yeah, if you listen to one of them, you can literally hear it gets louder and then it kind of dissipates. But then you would think an earthquake would do the same, right? Just kind of rumbles real light, and you start to it goes to this peak, and then of course it dies off, right? So, you know, but it's supposed to be a non-active planet. It's supposed to be nothing going on. It's a dead planet, meaning it just quit, man. There's nothing going on. No magnetic fields, only in certain spots, of course. So what's driving the planet? All of a sudden it's alive? I mean, like I said, I don't know. It just makes you wonder. What's going on, SC? Good to see you in there. Yes, Remo, yeah. He said, isn't sky color atmospheric? Absolutely. So all I got to do with the molecular, in the air, the molecules in the air. Yeah, you're right about that too, Libby. But I mean, it's the way it comes. The light comes through the atmosphere. It actually appears blue. Um, but either way you look at it, why are we seeing a blue sky on Mars? And all of a sudden, not 10 seconds, 15 seconds later, they look back again. They literally go to the people talking, and then they go back, and all of a sudden the screen's red, or it's this orangey pukey color. Why? It makes no sense. Daniel, you said especially the methane all through the atmosphere as volcanoes. Methane thing spikes rather on this planet always means life. It comes from their breathing other oddly functions. I know no other cause. Well, they claim it could be volcanic. You go, okay, I kind of get that. But what's funny about what I found amusing about it, they say, Well, it only seemed to do it in the summertime. Well, I don't know about you, but I know, you get a lot more of this methane. You get things, things that eat off other things, right? You'll get this kind of, animals will give off methane, but they had like these huge plumes of it. Well, okay, so if there's some kind of plant growth, something's got to be feeding on it, hence the methane, so on and so forth. There's a cycle on Mars, and it's a living cycle. It's not just a water cycle; it's a living cycle. And they say, well, it only happens in the warmer, times. Well, I think that would be the same thing here, wouldn't it? A lot more trees, a lot more animals, things feeding off plants, so on and so forth. So it's seasonal. Makes sense. I mean, I'm not saying it can't be natural because, well, trees would be natural, right? And whatever it may be, like organics, anything organics, right? So yeah. Yep. Nate Dogg, what's going on, man? You said Mars has a blue sky. Absolutely. Chris, you said, are there any other space agencies, maybe private companies, planning on visiting Mars who would share the truth with us with no censorship? I don't foresee it. I don't. It's almost like they go, well, okay, let's say you're a private company and you say, well, I want to send a probe to Mars and this, that, and the other. You can almost bet they all get together, like I said, like a United Space Agency. And they say, well, here's the deal. You can do that, but you're under these conditions not to either send, talk about your findings, whatever else. Because people have asked me that. Oh, well, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, what the hell? What about these other countries? Why wouldn't they just rat out United States or whatever? Well, it's not just the United States going though. You got China there now. You got Russia there, sent a probe what, a year and a half ago. Never said a word about it after that. There's so many people going now. India's there. They all want to send a rover there now. What for? If is it because they think NASA's lying about, well, we'd like to see our own photos, which makes sense. I would. And then find out for sure what they're seeing, or is it because they're just trying to work together and put more eyes and equipment on the ground? And to spread out the actual research. It makes sense to me that they would do that. And if they're all working together, it makes perfect sense. They're not going to rat each other out. What the hell for? They're like part of this agency as a whole because they all work together. So it makes perfect sense that they would do that. And I don't think they're ever going to just divulge it unless somebody slips up and sends somebody like me a photo or somebody else, because they'll say, well, I don't know why they would send it to a YouTube channel because frankly, it's probably laughable to them. But I wouldn't call it laughable when people are literally finding stuff in these photos and they're from them. JPL, NASA, and you got ESA or ESA, depending how you want to pronounce it, European Space Agency. And so they're literally finding these things and they're photos that they've taken. So somebody's got to answer to it. Rocky Twain, Mars is colorblind. Oh no, and NASA wants to believe that it's all red, and yeah, buddy. Mimi reacts. I believe they all gonna lie to us. Yeah, I mean, as long as they're all in on it, because they're like, again, even if people don't believe that, they go, I don't believe that crap. I think they would tell if they had to. Okay, well then again, let's go back to the original question. The original question is why. Um, why would they manipulate or obfuscate a photo from a planet that has nothing in it to show? It's simply rocks, nothing in it to see. It's just that's it. It's just dust. Why do any kind of manipulation? It's proof. It's proven that it's been manipulated. So yeah, why would they do that? It makes no sense. You got to ask that question because are they trying to hide like tree growth, shrubbery? Are they trying to what are they trying to hide? And then when you see these things like that Mars video we just done, or I just done, and where it shows what looks like this rebar and it's shaped perfectly, it's like got these nice bends to it on both ends. And what? Come on, come on. Swampy McGee. Oh, you think that says Frida? No, that says Florida. Um, it was funny because it's I should have told I went like that to one of my friends. He says, "Did that say Flow Rider?" I said, "No, it says Florida." Oh, I got a kick out of it. But yeah, Frida, yes, it was a good tune. There is something going on. Pete's Vlogs. I didn't even know you were in there. When'd you jump in there? Appreciate the support, man. Good to have you in there as always. Yeah, Justy, you're right about that. I found that interesting because, um, ESSA, when it says worse than NASA, ESSA not saying anything at all. It's kind of like India. Now, and this is the truth. You guys can look this stuff up. I remember them sending India when they sent their mom, uh, orbiter, right? And I jumped on the photo that they had. It was like you can see like Mars and stuff like that. When you do auto color, in Photoshop, it looks just like Earth. You got the blues, the greens, you got the atmosphere. You can see the blue atmosphere. Um, and then they said, well, we're going to put all kinds of high definition photos. And I think they put out a handful, maybe 10, right? Um, you guys could correct me if I'm wrong. It's like 10 or 12 photos. It stopped. People are like, where's the rest of these photos? What's going on? Why aren't we seeing more? And these are their people stating this. It was on their page. They were pissed because they're going, what's going on? I think it was on their Twitter page that they were saying, where's these other photos? Why aren't we still seeing photos? These these companies are taking money from their people and not giving them what they want. Why you say you're going to send those up there and you're going to give all kinds of high definition photos and then give a handful and that's the end of it? What's the point? So you're going to send it could be a rover or an orbiter. You're going to send an orbiter up there, take 10 photos. That's good enough. We're good. Go ahead and shut it down. No, no. They're doing much more research up there, and they're just not letting their public see it. That's all. 357 Robbie, what's going on? Gases in the atmosphere cause the color. The color tells you what type. Pretty much. In fact, I know sunrise is in there. Mars sunrise, I think it's called. Blue sunrise rather, or sunset. And they got that as their avatar. What's funny about it is you see, like they go, well, you can see the red in the atmosphere, right, as the sun sets or rises. It doesn't matter which one. You can see like this. Well, you can see the red in the atmosphere. I'm not even interested in all that because first of all, we don't know if that dust is just lowered to the ground, and because the camera is taking a picture through the dust onto the sun, you're going to claim the whole atmosphere is just floating around with dust constantly? No way. You know, and you can see what's funny about it, you can see this blue hue in the back or through the red. Come on. Now they say, well, it's different because Earth has a different sunset. It's more reddish. Okay, I get that. But if you got that red in there too, and then maybe they try to do the opposite. Maybe they try to put the blue in there, and it's really red, and that's why you're seeing this red tinge, and you can see the blue. Maybe they're doing that to try to throw us off. Oh, it's just the opposite. This is the reason why it's no atmosphere. It's why you're seeing blue instead of red, like Earth does. Well, I still seen a red tinge in there, regardless. Libby T is a tree hugger. Save the trees. Save life. Period. Greg, sound like you're a doubter. Come on, man. Who is telling you these figures? The same people that are showing you these photos. No, look it up. Yeah, I'm not just pulling these figures out of my head. I mean, out of my butt too. It's look it up. It's on NASA's site. You don't have to be an Einstein to read, man. All you got to do is read and just educate yourself. I didn't just start doing these just a week ago. I've been reading and researching and everything else. This stuff is actually on Mars. Look it up. Look it up. Go on there and just Google what gases are on Mars. Has water been found on Mars? Yes, it has. There's one in the South Pole. It's underground. It's a little over a foot deep and it's about a mile wide. Look the stuff up. It's all there. You don't have to believe a thing I say, man. Go look at it. Go look it up. MC Gamer, you said I would love to if you got a real deal pic, Chris, of the moon or Mars. You and me both. Unedited would be great. Dr. Z Smith, he says, yeah, Greg, look it up. I mean, I get these people, like I said, they said, what makes you like this source? I don't know. Maybe I read the credible source, meaning JPL, NASA, even though these guys are not divulging what they're literally, or at least not putting clearly out there what they're seeing on these planets or moons, doesn't mean the information isn't there. Now, and I'll give them credit. They literally have to update their science because when they do the science, they say, well, this is what we come up with. Well, maybe a year later, they found a different, they come up with something different. Well, now we just found more water on Mars. Okay. I mean, there's cirrus clouds in the air. You can see it in videos. I mean, you can see it like in the sky. You can see cirrus clouds. I mean, just look it up, man. Nobody's pulling this crap out of their ass. I mean, it's the real deal. All you got to do is research it. And I tell everybody to do that. Don't listen to what I say. Go look it up yourself. Daniel said, I think they admitted to using the orangish reddish filter and may question. My question is why I know why you can hide stuff if you make it all one color. Well, yeah, I mean, to me, it's just like if you make everything orange, again, you don't see anything that's on there, its own independent color. You don't see that. So it makes sense. It's easy to hide. And then it makes it easier to hide the actual blurring, digitized sections they take out, whatever they want to do. And I just showed, through the raw plating of that last Martian photo, where those rocks, you can see there's like digitized squares over the face of them, and yet there's no detail at all on there. Look this stuff up. It's there. 786 Auto. Hey, good to see you in there, man. Glad you jumped in. You said, hello, Chris. Thank you for the support as always. You are the man. Let me see here. I don't know why this thing wasn't jumping all the way down. Maybe because I had it up to begin with because I wanted to read some of the other comments. But again, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, let's leave it at the bottom here so I don't track right. Okay. Noodles, you said all public images are part of slow disclosure. Yeah. I mean, if you break down this stuff yourself, research it. If you don't believe anything I say or anybody else on these other channels say, at least they're trying to be honest and they're saying, listen, this is what I found out the information. Now, how did I figure it out? Well, you can look up peer-reviewed stuff, scientists talking about, it doesn't have to be NASA. If you don't believe NASA, that's fine. Look it up because there's other places that do this stuff. These institutions, these college and universities actually do these studies too. And, just look at what they're saying. And these other scientists have peer-reviewed stuff. They're finding this stuff themselves. And when you read this, the more and more, you start to understand and put all this together. And then when you see these photos with these bizarre looking objects in them, I mean, you just put it all together yourself, Melinda Nouch, yeah. Ouch. I guess that's the way to pronounce it. NASA is full of crap. Ain't no doubt about that. And like I said, I believe in NASA. I think everything about NASA. I love it. Space exploration, the technologies they come up with to do this, because a lot of that is being, is then put into form where the consumer can use it too. So I love everything about that far, but I don't love anything about the idea about them hiding what they're really finding. And clearly we can see it in these photos. And again, I said this earlier. People say, well, what happens? This is, because I don't know how many people I had say on one of the videos, oh, it's Earth. It's Earth. It's a bunch of crap. It's Earth. You have to prove that it's Earth, first of all. Now, and I've always said this, if I ever found out these were of Earth, I would absolutely blow this out of the water. I would say, yes, I found absolute proof. I was told this and shown this. I don't want to hear about Greenland and all this other crap and Devon Island, please. These are testing grounds. It's not a secret. I'm talking about actual, proof saying, yes, this scientist figured this out, broke into the computer system and found out, yes, they are lying. I would blow it out of the water in New York second. And of course, I'd throw my hands up and go, oh, well, looks like we've all been duped. Either way, they'd have to explain it to the public. Why are they lying about it? One way or the other, they got to tell the truth. Well, will they? That's a different story. But they definitely have to come out. Oh, there's Blue Sunset. They definitely have to answer to it, right? Oh yeah, Blue Sunset. You're right. You said Google images of Martian sunset. My avatar is not the only one. They're all blue. Yeah, but But that's what their argument is. They want you to say that there is no atmosphere in there because if you remember, well, if you know that our sunsets are always red or orange, right? Why is theirs blue? That's the biggest question. So they want to throw that at you. So I'm wondering if they're not throwing that blue hue in there to give you that idea that yeah, the atmosphere is not what you think it is. Just kind of like during the day, it is actually blue. Why is it still blue on sunset then, or blue or sunrise? Nah, something's going to change there. Something doesn't make sense. There's this discrepancy because we see blue sky when it's not cloudy. We see blue sky out here. Everything's grand. Everything's awesome. And then when it settles, of course, it's going on an angular way on, setting. So, but it turns orange. So, what's the deal there? Now, it kind of makes sense in a way, but it really doesn't. Because I mean, they clearly lied right there on a video or live rather when they went from um, having a blue sky in there. And like I said, the people that are working there are going, "Oh wow, it has a blue sky." And I swear to God, I was like, "Wow, these people didn't know that," but yet they had it on there, and 10 seconds later, bam, it turned red. Why would you do that? There's nothing there. It's complete. It's nonsense when they do that. Jim Donahue's on there. What's going on, man? He said corporations have taken over our government. They're one and the same. They don't want to admit alien life from thousands of years ago and more advanced than us, possibly. Yeah, I mean, and I don't, and I still don't understand that. I mean, I understand that. I mean, they figure it's going to frighten some people because people can have questions, and a lot of people fear the unknown. I know I would. Like I said, if you were to put me where the astronauts were on the moon when they discovered these structures and everything else, I don't know how I'd react. Like I said, look at Buzz, the way he came out, man. He was like, everything was fine. He was just like top notch astronaut. He was a pilot, the whole 9 yards. And all of a sudden he come back and he looks like just watch him when they had him on behind the president, when he's talking about going back to the moon, right? He's like making all these weird facial features, just weird. I'm going, what the hell? This is not the guy I remember. It's almost like they put him on total drugs because he kind of snapped and lost it. I mean, he was not like that. If you watched him in interviews and stuff like that, calm as can be. Yes, we're going to be going to the moon. Everything's fine. This, that, and the other. And all of a sudden, he comes back. He's like a total different man. The guy went into hiding and everything. And then he'd come back out, and everything seemed to be fine to a certain degree. Yeah. Mac Duffin, you said they wouldn't admit aliens are real because people wouldn't have the feeling of an afterlife and being with their God, and therefore the whole religion thing would be out of the window and people would go crazy. Well, to a certain degree, yes and no, because like I said, I mean, I've talked to people. They said, well, I guess they read the King James Bible. And I said, no, I mean, it was they claimed that there's 99 worlds, and because what was going on Earth with with us and stuff like that. That's right. The reason why there was a great flood and all this other stuff. Well, so they claim there's 99 worlds. And I've talked to some people who are like totally, I mean, like fundamentalist kind of thing. And they said, why would we have a problem with that? We don't have a problem with that. God created all. So why would we care? So, I mean, in some aspects, people wouldn't give a damn, and then some people probably would. They'd probably be kind of freaked out about it. I don't know. Alien Tunnel, you said to have alien life in our oceans would require really advanced technology. To fly in an atmosphere is one thing, but to be under the immense pressure of psi on the ocean floor is another matter. Well, yeah, but I mean, keep in mind how many creatures are down there. I remember when they went down, they went with a diving bell, went all the way down to the Marianas Trench, way down to the bottom, and yet there was fish and everything swimming around down there, all kinds of weird creatures and stuff like that. Look at the pressures that must be on them. How do they do that? It's so there's got to be a science to it where they can do that. And how do we know if they got some kind of field on the outside that it totally stops that pressure from collapsing them in? Who knows? I don't know. I mean, it would have to be some serious technology to be able to do that. Doesn't mean there isn't any. Just because we don't understand it doesn't mean there isn't any, right? MD Masick, he said the bigger the crowd going to Mars and the more people knowing the better chance of somebody getting it out. Edwin Snowden lets things out, so maybe Someone will let the truth of Mars out. Well, that's true, and I'm hoping the same thing. People have asked me that. They said, in fact, I think we talked about this one time. They said, "Hey, Chris, how would you react if somebody actually sent you a photo of real Mars?" And I said, "Well, I probably wouldn't know how to act because you're just like, is this faked? Is it real?" Now, the only way I would try to figure out if it was real or not, the first thing I would ask is, "What sol is it?" And then if they said, well, I'm going to throw a number, a solid 434. Okay. I would go on NASA's site, look at 434, and I would see if the things line up. So, in other words, here's a butte. Well, it's not a butte, it's an actual structure. Okay. So we see that there. And then multiple little rocks. Well, those are not rocks, those are this. So, in other words, you see these objects there transformed for public consumption, but yet here's a real photo. Then you would say, oh my God, this is the real deal. Look at this. That's the best way to do that. And I think I would love to see something that was not, manipulated or screwed with. Just pure photo. That's it. Noodles, he said the little tree Chris showed was super truth. Now all we need is insects, then spiders from Mars. Well, believe it or not, and like I said, I mean, I don't know if you've seen it, Noodles, but I had done a video where it looked like would look like things in the air flying because you could see like a motion blur behind it. One was going to the left, one was going to the right, and you can see like a motion blur when you zoomed into it. So whatever it is flying around. Now, is it an insect? Is it a bird? It's hard to tell. We don't know how far it is from the camera. So if it's further away, a lot further away, it could very well be some kind of bird type thing flying in the air. If it's not, it's closer to the camera. It's probably an insect. Now, people have said to me, oh, there's dust flying around on Mars all the time. Okay, I'm cool with that. Why isn't there other microns of dust flying in front of the camera as well as that one? If it's windy enough to show that one speck of sand flying in front of the camera, where's the rest of them? It must be windy enough to kick up more than one. Come on now. Well, the microns, they're just so small that you can't see them. Oh, come on, man. It's like like I said, the deniers, they just don't want to open their minds up to the fact that these things could be present. Now, we're not saying with absolutes here. I never speak in absolutes on this channel. I said it looks like this. It could be this. It looks very much like that. What do you guys think? Because we're making, it's pure speculation because we can't go there and figure these things out, right? Or touch it or anything like that. All we can do is speculate. Okay. But it doesn't mean it's less truth. It just means that we don't know and there's no way to confirm it. That's all that means. Timothy Mollison. Mollison? Hey, Chris, we all know NASA works with Walt Disney and Hollywood to learn how to cover up all these photos for a long time now since Von Braun. Well, I mean, yeah, that they came up with some kind of, first of all, they were actually doing, like putting markers and airbrushing these photos out on the moon. And they claimed it. They actually said that. But their excuse was, well, it's for aesthetics. We want it to look good for the public. Well, wait a minute. Doesn't a raw photo, how would that misguide anybody in any way, shape, or form? Just a photo. Show me a raw photo. How would that misinform or screw with people's eyes if it's a raw photo? Well, a little too bright here, a little too dark there. Oh, please. To me, a raw photo will never lie. It's as simple as that. They claim, well, we have to take in another, light spectrums or whatever it may be. Oh, crap. Come on now. RGB. The eye sees the RGB with ease. Show me a camera, take the photo of RGB, show me the real deal, and there you go. But every time you see these photos, they're manipulated out. There's no, I'll get it right. Digitization, and they literally put them all over these things. They spot blur. What's the point? What's the reason for it? It makes no sense. And to be truthful with you guys, when I see some of these photos, you're probably seeing 10% of what's really in that photo. In other words, it's doctored up to that point where you're only seeing 10% of that information. I've showed one, well, in my video, I showed one photo where I went into the raw plating of this, and 90% of that thing was blurred up except for just certain areas in there. You could see good detail. The rest of it was blur. Complete crap over the actual original photo. Yeah. Yeah, Mimi. Yeah, there was this one of these what was it, one of the guys in the universities or whatever. He's been on there. I forget what his name is. Is it Rossimer or something like that, guys? I said, wasn't there a guy who said he found bugs on Mars? Yeah. Now, of course, he got ridiculed from other scientists. Why? Are they willing to do the research first before they laugh at him and scoff? To me, I would be like, wait a minute, you're saying what? Okay, let's have a look, and we'll make our own decision. Again, peer reviewed. Now, are they willing to risk their, their tenure or their teaching or whatever they are in their universities? Are they willing to screw up their whole life to actually admit to it and say, yeah, the same, and basically concur with him? If this guy's getting ridiculed, they're thinking, "Oh, I better step back. I don't want my life to be in turmoil." Why? Because you want to speak the truth? Come on, man. I just don't think that's right. Custom tailored one. What's going on, man? And you said, doesn't the taxpayers fund NASA? We should be able to obtain the truth through the Freedom of Information Act. We should sue NASA for the truth. I wish some of these scientists would start doing that. At one point, and it was probably a few years ago, 3 to 5 years ago, they literally started to get pissed off because at one point the rovers just they weren't showing any more photos. Like they said, the rover stopped right now. There's nothing going on, so on and so forth. And they were getting pissed, like, where's these photos you promised us? These are scientists, not people like us. And they want, give us more, give us more. Wait a minute. So they had to come up with their, okay, let's get it back online. Let's go, let's go. There was a time, I think there was like a week and a half, almost a week maybe, that it was completely offline. So you can see like a solid jump from, like, let's say it was 434 again, and it would jump to like 452, like totally just jumped over a week, and then sometimes they didn't even say anything about any kind of, if there was a problem with the rover, they never stated anything about it. Just boom, that was it. Oh, Sarah, you're too kind. I appreciate the support. That's awesome. Um, Good to see you guys in there and ladies. Again, thank you for the support. So yeah, I mean, to me though, but here's the problem with it. Custom tailored one is that now they're just asking for the money through the government. They're not even bothered to try to, back in the days, back in the Apollo, they hoped that the public seeing it would actually, basically donate money to them. Like, yeah, well, we're just so into it. Let's go ahead and give you the money. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. So but now they just go to Congress and say, we need X amount of billions of dollars. You got it? And you know what I mean? So that's basically what they're doing. To me, I wouldn't give them another red cent. I'd say, listen, we think you're just jerking us around. We need the real photos, or else that's it. Some scientist or somebody who's into the digital photography needs to break these photos down. And I mean, of somebody that's higher up and say, this is what we found. What are you jerking us around for? And then actually have them answer the question. These are, and they can say, this is the reason why we come up with this, because we can see, you digitized out this part of the photo, you blur out this, and we can see this through these raw platings or whatever how they bring it out. What's going on? What's the deal? And not give them another red cent. Or they actually, maybe there's a higher up person saying, they just call them out, you just give them the money. That's it. Just give them the money. Kind of like that movie Contact. Remember that? She was trying to get funding. Jodie Foster was trying to get all this funding and couldn't get it. And then of course this billionaire would call on, yeah, just give her the money. And she got her funding. So yeah. George Mayer's in the house. What's going on? Good to see you, man. Noodles, Sarah is a goddess. Yes, she is. Nothing but great respect for her. Yeah, Ramosa, yeah. Professor William Ramosa, that's the one. Thank you, Sarah. Um, NASA is paid for the service, not for the truth. Well, I think they're paid to find the truth, but they're not going to let the public see it because we're on a need to know basis. So they're basically collecting this information, probably for the military and for the higher ups, the elites, the people who actually own this planet. They're just getting all of this information. Now, you can just imagine, picture yourself being a multi-billionaire. I mean, money, filthy rich. I mean, when they start making these trips back and forth to the moon and Mars, they go, yeah, I'll take a ticket. I mean, it's just a drop in the bucket to them. What's that, 100,000? A couple mil to go to the moon? There you go. Just lay it down. It's not even a big deal to them. It's like a drop in the bucket. Chris, you said we are hairless primitive apes that any aliens visiting, they'll make contact in 1,000 years when we all live in harmony around Earth. And that's true. You know what I mean? Well, like I said, if you were an alien yourself, and I don't mean like these little gray guys with the almond shaped eyes. I mean, you are a humanoid kind of like us, and you're looking. And I've said this before. You're looking at the planet. Would you want to contact us? Look at these guys can't even get along with themselves. How the hell do we even want to even approach them? They'll probably want to kill us too. Why would we want to? So I believe they're in contact with the higher ups of this planet. But as far as anything else, they're trying to keep that hush hush. But I think to a certain degree, it's going to get to the point where they're going to have to let the cat out of the bag. And I think that's going to start in 2020. I think they're going to really start ramping it up. Now, there might just be little tidbits here and there, but it'll get there. And it's going to be all stuff we already know. We're going to be like, all right, we already knew it. Guarantee it. But for the people who are not watching this kind of stuff or researching or doing anything of that sort, they'll be like, oh my God, I never knew that. You know what I mean? There'll be kind of that kind of thing going on. Daniel, you said most scientists will keep their mouth shut, should even if something is clearly there, which leads me to tons of frustration. Science has never intended to ridicule people. Absolutely. Rachel says, hit that like button, guys. That's right. Hammer time. Slam it. Can you see it now? I broke my mouse. That wouldn't be good. Alien Tenor is a good one. Once the human race finds out the aliens really do exist, we're going to go to the rich. F you. You clean your own shit. I mean, yeah. Because these guys are going to have so much money, they're not going to care. They're just going to be like, and they may be these guys like, kind of like Elon Musk, right? And it's going to be like, once we get this perfected and you get structured there, I'll visit there occasionally. Just go there and just visit, or just stay there for a few months or whatever. I mean, think about it. If you were that filthy rich, why would you care, man? You'd be just like, I'd go there too, knowing that, of course, they get this perfected. And they can get there a lot faster, than the conventional, Atlas Fives and all this other junk rockets. They got much better propulsion. Michael Bailey, we are a war-loving species. Unfortunately, you're right, and I do appreciate the support, by the way, Michael. Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, again, if I was some alien, I said, man, I'd love to make contact with there's clearly life on this planet, because they can probably do, monitor our, the radio waves, TV waves, all this other, and they say, well, yeah, they're broadcasting, they're doing this, they're doing that. Wow, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, let's go over there. And they go, wait a minute, what is wrong with these people? They're just looking at, just different ways to kill each other. Well, we may want to just like not have anything to do with these people. We may want to just like step back. And I'd be like, F these people. I don't want nothing to do with them. Nate Dog 73, you're right to a certain degree, but not right because you said Mars sky is red during the day, sunset is blue. Reason is dust particles make a blue halo around the sun. The halo is easy to see when the light passes through the dust while coming through the horizon. I think he said, well, because his arrow's in the way. Hold on. Over the horizon. Well, again, that applies if you think scientifically, and what I've read too is the same exact thing you just typed out. I totally agree with you. Until you seen the Mars Insight lander, and the sky was perfectly blue during the day. So wait a minute, hold on, what gives here? So it's almost like this discrepancy in NASA's information that they're giving the public, and like the way you just said it. Like I said, that's the way exactly the way I took it. But the more you look into these photos, and like some of these photos you break down in a Photoshop, Photoshop sees through that almost like fake overlay, and it can literally pull the actual colors out. And people go, well, how do you know Photoshop's right? I said, well, let me ask you this question then. Let's say it's bogus, it's pulling out wrong colors. Why didn't it pull out purple for the sky? Why didn't it pull out pink? How about green? If it's that wrong, why isn't it just pulling out just any random color for the sky? It's not doing it. It's pulling out blue like we recognize here on Earth. It's pulling out the right colors that we're supposed to see. Even the rocks are the right colors which we're supposed to see like we would see here on Earth. Why is that? Makes you wonder. It's a discrepancy in the information that makes you wonder. John, do you like that? John Devon says, "Hammer time." Very funny, Chris, coming from what I believe is an old school rocker. Yeah. Smash the like button, people. That was pretty funny. Yeah, Melinda. Yeah, you're right. You said that we would be stupid not to have a space force. Yeah, I mean, that's been in place. Like I said, that goes back to the early '80s, mid '80s. They've always had that. They're making it sound like, oh, it's a whole new thing here. Just look it up. When they had the Star Wars program back in the '80s, and it's true. It's just look it up. And I don't think that's ever stopped. In fact, I found one article, and I'll be damned if I can find it again. It was a military. Somebody sent me this, and you could go right to the site. It's an actual site, and it was something like .gov or some weird thing. And when you went on it, it actually talked about troops that were like dotting space, which is really bizarre. And it wasn't some cuckoo site either. It was actually a military site. And I don't remember the name of it or anything right now. I need to look that thing back up again because that was just cool. Robert Morgan, you asked, could it be a bias in Photoshop? I guess it's a possibility. I don't see why not, right? Um, but again, I mean, would they would they do that though? Because here's the thing: I could take my photo of my own, right? And I can put whether it be an airplane, a car, whatever it may be, trees, and it comes out with the same colors. It doesn't change. But yet I put something like that, like when India sent their satellite to Mars, and like I said, you can see like three-quarters of it, you can see the actual Mars surface itself. And of course, the looking through the atmosphere from a distance. And as soon as I hit that, all the right colors came out that you would see here on Earth. Again, browns, greens, a little bit of blues, and you can see the blue atmosphere. But when you seen it before you did that, everything was red. Red atmosphere tinge. It had the same thing on the ground, but yet it pulled all of these colors out and they were the right colors. Is it possible they built it to do that? Why would they do that back in the day? Because this was coming out before all of these rovers were put out there, right? We started getting more of these photoshops coming out, and this is before we found the landers and these rovers going to Mars. So, you know what I mean? Libby T, you said good night, Chris. You taking off? Well, I'm glad you stopped in there, Libby. It's always good to see you in there. You know that. Um, Josh D, he's taking off as well. Good night, Chris. He's taking off. Well, good to see you anyway. I'm glad you spent some time here. MD, MD put on there, Masek. You put on there, I think there are many alien races. Just look at Earth. How many different humans are on this little rock? I think the more powerful aliens and more, I'll say, or most protected ones will be here in 2020. I don't foresee that happening as far as aliens coming here. I think they've already been here. I think that they just kind of go quietly. I like my voice. No, I'm kidding. Um, so I don't think that's going to be the case, to be honest with you guys. I think they've already been here for how long? They've been coming and going. Even the ancient people talked about these beings that came from the sky and stuff like that, and their gods came down from the heavens. Dry throat. I'll get it out. So I believe they've been here. They've been here for thousands of years. So and they probably know how to approach Earth now. As far as like, because now, well, wait a minute, they're coming up with new technologies, but they're still fighting amongst themselves. Because I mean, if you think about it, fighting's been going on since the dawn of man, right? Whatever it may be, whatever battles back in the past. So they know how to approach the planet, but they don't want us to blow us apart. So they're kind of like, okay, we'll disable their silos, their missile silos here and there when they want a war, and then we'll just kind of like slap them on the wrist. No, no, don't do that kind of thing. But you know, I do think that they're going to start coming out with more and more, meaning NASA, other space agencies. Oh, we're coming out with more and more information. Funny thing I found was space.com. I don't know if you guys read this article, but I know you guys have seen the new telescope that China just made. Well, it didn't just made. It was back in 2016, I think it was. But it says China's huge alien hunting radio telescope is finishing its test phase. Now, again, This is like, let me see. This was 10 hours ago. This was on here. So it wasn't like some old article, right? And it's got a video and everything. This thing is absolutely huge. And let me see if I can remember. It's a 500-meter aperture spherical telescope, or they call it FAST for short. Began these trial operations in September 2016. Now, let me see if in the process of observing signals from celestial bodies, we can also collect signals that might be emitted by humans or extraterrestrial intelligence. Zhu Ming, director of the Scientific Observation and Data Division at the FAST Operations and Development Center, explained in a recent CCTV video. So basically, it's their Chinese, version, kind of like a I forget if it's a news channel or whatever it is. However, there's a huge amount of work since most signals we see, 90% of them, are various noises. So we need to take our time to identify the signals we want in the noises. Well, again, when they're talking about those radio bursts, remember that? What I found interesting about that is they go, oh, it's just radio bursts, so therefore it's just too quick. It can't be anything. And a lot of these are like a light burst, see that and stuff like that. And I found that interesting to just dismiss that. And I don't know if they have, to be truthful with you guys, because if you think about it, a light burst could have information in it. And this is the reason, and this is how they send information back and forth to different planets and galaxies. Let's suppose, and this is pure speculation, let's suppose there's other alien races out there, which I believe there are, but that's how they send information. It's not radio waves. It's there's a burst of light, and there's all this information in light, and it gets collected through many of these alien races or whatever in this, this vast area of space that may have alien life. And we're just like toddlers learning how to walk. They're just not worthy yet, kind of attitude. But at this burst of light, it just goes everywhere, and they collect this information. Now, the scientist that was working for SETI, he said, well, it's kind of funny because, it's not always in the same spot, right? We find it happens twice over there, and then way on the other side, a couple billion miles away, a lot closer, is another flash that goes off of the air. Yeah, that may be actually communications. How the hell do we know? It's like, it just sends it, and there's one way over there at a certain time, it just sends it. I think they know what it is. And I think what they're going to try to do is decipher this light, because it's like here we have, like I said, fiber optics. How much information can you send in light? Makes all the difference, right? It makes it, it's just cool if you think about it, how much information can be passed through it. Your internet, TV, whatever it may be, information coming and going through light. Well, how do we know that's just not like a light burst and they just collect the information on another planet? They just receive it. Oh, okay, all this information came in. And I'm talking about billions of terabytes of information, not like 500 gigs or whatever. We're talking about like astronomical amounts of information through a light burst. And the way he made it sound was, well, it's not always in one spot. We'll get it over here. To me, that's just like awesome, because you're getting light, these bursts from different areas. How do we know that's not communications? Again, pure speculation, but how do we know that's not the way they communicate? It'd be far better than what we got today. Guess it just jumped up on me, so guys, so just bear with me here. Oh, this thing did jump on me. Holy crap. Okay, there we go. Photography like magic, you said, whoever's yanking NASA's chain has very distorted view of reality. All of these half-wits think about is looking after their own arse. Well, yeah, it's that, or it's like I said, there's an interest in it. I mean, nobody's going to spend, it's like yourself. You go outside your house, you want to purchase something. What for? Because you need it. Or it's going to help improve your life, so you go out and buy it. I don't care if it's maybe another gun to hunt, or you need a new living room suite, well, bedroom suite rather set. So you go out and you buy these. Why? Because it's going to help you sleep better at night. So there's a reason why you go out and purchase something, unless of course you're filthy rich and you got more money than brains. Then you can do that. I'm talking about these elites, right? So to me, it just seems like there has to be a motive to drive these people to spend billions upon billions of dollars to go out there to a rock as complete death. There's nothing there, just a hunk of rock that used to have life, and that's pretty much it. And yet they're claiming, well, we're still trying to find building blocks of life. Um, and that was found in 1975, 1976 on the Viking lander. They knew all of this, and the scientists went back and forth. Excuse me. At one time, they went back and forth about this. Ah, no, they didn't. Yes, they did. No, they didn't. Yes, they did. So even the scientists are clashing about this because they said, man, there was life discovered long ago, back in the day, and they said there was microbial life then, or at least traces of it, right? So they knew it. John Devine, you said, how come when someone shows a photo of a spaceship and explain how pixelization proves tampering, but NASA does it the most? Hmm. Not exactly sure what you're getting at there. Hmm. Well, I mean, to me, it's just like if you're going by what NASA does, in other words, they take these photos and they see whatever, whether it be on the moon, on Mars, whatever. Obviously they're trying to hide the stuff, right? So we get that. Um, but anybody who does any of this, you can go onto photoforensics.com and you can literally take this photo, a lot of these really doctored up photos, and put it there, and you can see the distortion in the pixels. It's crazy. And a lot of people are like, oh, you're just making this stuff up. No, look it up yourself. Take the photo. Any photo I give you guys a photo link, go into photoforensics.com, and it literally will, you can literally show it, and it shows you the metadata and everything else. You can literally see the distortion in the pixels, or the overlay over the actual pixels. It's crazy. Remote viewer says if they are less intelligent than us, they want peace. If they are more intelligent than us, then they know that peace is the way forward. If they are like us, they will just learn about us in peace. Well, I've always said if there's extremely intelligent beings out there, right? They've overcome all the warring. They learned how to get along. They stopped it. Maybe the monetization, instead of fighting over like money all the time. Think about this: if you're fighting over money all the time, there's your war, or resources. There's your war. But if you learn to say, you know what, kind of like I said, when you got civilizations that just go out and they build, like the Amish people. They go out and they say, "What's that? You just got married. You need a house. We'll go ahead and build it." As a whole, they just go out, they get the stuff, they build it. There you go. There's your home. Have a good day. That's it. So why don't they do the same thing here? Or maybe the aliens have done that a long time ago. They've gotten over all that BS. There's no such thing as money anymore. You need something as resource. Everybody just gets together as a whole and supplies it. There is no money to be gained. You live, you just whether it's food, everybody gets it. They do. There's no fighting over it. Once you get rid of or step over that resource thing or the money itself, where's all the problems? They all dissipate. It's like yourself. If every day, if you won the lottery tomorrow, how many problems would you have as far as your bills? Well, then again, unless of course you do something stupid and don't invest the money, but you get what I'm saying. It's kind of like, what would you do tomorrow if you're multi-millionaire? You'd be so much relieved because there's nothing to worry about as far as bills anymore. And like I said, unless of course you blow it stupidly and end up in jail, or that wouldn't be good. Um, you know, so to me, it's just like if they overcome all that, yeah, they're much more advanced than we are. Just in that, it's in that, just that alone, right? Josti, you said even the Vatican science leader said UFOs are real and been here thousands of years. Yeah, I mean, there's again, and people have said, what the hell does the Vatican need a friggin' telescope named Lucifer of all damn things? But why do they need it? Because people know that this stuff is out there. They want their own glance at it. They want to look at it themselves and wow, look at this. And again, it's bred in us, right? We want to know that we're part of something. This is the reason why you see a lot of people go out and they socialize because they want to be part of something. Now, what happens on a grander scale that we are part of something and we're just a small little speck in this huge universe of life? I don't know about you guys, but that is just awesome. It's like excitingly awesome to know that you'd be part of something much larger, right? And I think that we are. In fact, I don't even have a doubt anymore. That dog 73 said, I agree completely. Wanted your thoughts. I think you would almost see a blue sky. Almost always see a blue sky. Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I totally agree with you, Nate Dogg, as far as what you're saying about the way NASA has told us about the way the dust in the atmosphere, so on and so forth, and I totally agree. But then they turn around and they screw with the public, but then they're caught just like that. I was like, oh my god, just look for it. Like I said, InSight lander, uh, on Mars, and you should be able to find that photo from NASA or I don't know if it's JPL or whatever it was. It's one of the two. And what I found interesting about that is like the way they did that. Like I said, the sky looked like my shirt, and all of a sudden, all red, all orangey pukey color. Come on, Melinda, you're right about that. You said they can't hide it forever. It will all come out soon. That we've been lied to for years. Oh yeah. Now they may come out with it and say, "Well, we're going to explain this because we just thought it would frighten people. We just thought that people weren't ready for it." Remember what the top brass, so to speak, in NASA saying, "Oh, we just don't think people are ready for the truth." Absolutely. You know what I mean? And maybe this is the reason why they're just trying to do a little bit, just spoon feed, just a little bit at a time, so people don't freak out. Because then they're going to put one and one together, right? They're going to go, okay, so you said this microbial life, right? And I've already predicted this, right? Microbial life, then they're going to find moss, some kind of peat moss or some kind of moss on there. And they're going to find, oh, wait a minute, we just ran into a big area that has like these small shrubs all over the place. Okay, so we found that. We found this, so on and so forth, and it's going to build up. Well, if you have, there's always this little life cycle, right? So if you got microbial life, what is it feeding on? And then you have like small trees and shrubs or some kind of weird, let's call it a weird fruit. Okay, what's feeding on that? So on and so forth. Where's all this methane coming from? Where's it? You know what I mean? It's gonna snowball after that. And I think they're really worried about that. I think they're worried about once we let out this small information, is it gonna just snowball like there's no end? And I think it will. And then they're gonna have to really stop pouring it out. And I hope they do. To be truthful with you guys, I don't have any hate toward them. Like, get it out, man. Let's get it out. Timothy, you said, I think the aliens just don't want to play with us Homo sapiens yet. Well, again, I think they are talking to the elites of this planet. They just going, yeah, let's just keep us a secret kind of thing. And they're just going about their business back and forth with whatever. Again, pure speculation, but they've been coming here for thousands of years. And how do we know as they watch us grow, then all of a sudden now we have presidents and these leaders of all these people. They're looking, oh, this is the leader of such and such of this landmass. Now, of course, our president of the United States or the prime ministers of other countries, so on and so forth. They're now looking and say, okay, so we'll slowly approach them. We've been looking at your planet for thousands of years. We just want to let you know that this is what's going on and this and that. So yeah. So I think they've been here for thousands of years. In fact, there's somewhat proof, right? At least writings and stuff. So yeah. Power power vape supply. So there's a space force, but we keep sending NASA astronauts on Russian-made spaceships. Yeah, it sounds legit. Um, yeah, yeah. Well, again, see, it makes you wonder: is this space force just strictly to look for rocks out in space, or is it legit? Meaning, it is part of the military. Again, I knew this back in it was supposed to be around the '80s that they were doing this. Where when I seen this other site somebody sent me to, it's like it's not very known, but yet it says there's like there's groups of like these I don't know if I want to call them troops, but teams that are like protecting out in space. For what reason? It makes you wonder, right? I don't know. Chris got crisscrossed. That happens sometimes. You jump way down here, trying to get everybody's here, and then actually touch on it too. And I fall behind here, so I don't mean to. Yeah. Hammer 6387, he said the Dogon tribe talked about star system beyond Orion. Maybe that's where the Martians escaped. Well, the thing is, how are these tribes, and you can see them, I mean, they're just completely like primitive people living, they still got spears and daggers and everything else to hunt and everything else, and yet they know about Orion, this star system, Orion, and beyond that. Who told them that? Let me guess, as a scientist going there, okay, guys, we're going to have a science class today. We're all going to teach you about this. No, they knew this for years, right? This is not something they just learned. And a lot of civilizations are like that. They still, like I said, if you go to the Egyptians, they talk about how the gods, their overseers, helped them build the pyramids. That's what they call them, the overseers. And they go, the overseers from the skies helped us build these. And there's a lot of, like just look at your religious books. Every god comes down from the heavens. Every one of them. What's that tell you? We were taught from other beings. At least that's the way, if you interpret it that way, that's the most likely. I mean, why don't they just say, well, we were taught by another tribe that came over here and we learned. No, they're saying the gods from the skies came down from the heavens, came to earth and taught us, agriculture, language, mathematics, so on and so forth. Now, where did they get this from? Were they sci-fi writers back in the day? I don't think so. MC Gaming said, I think aliens won't let us destroy ourselves because they've seen what happened in Japan in World War II with nukes and has been shutting down nuke sites ever since. Well, yeah, I mean, they just don't want to. I think it's almost like we're like that pet project, right? When you got all of these different, races and colors on this planet, how do we know there wasn't like different alien races that just said, well, we'll just put all of these, our own version of these people on the planet and see how they get along? How do we know? Again, pure speculation, but is it far-fetched if we were put here and our DNA was modified from these aliens, according to some of these ancient civilizations? If that's true, how do we know we're not like this giant ant farm and they're just keeping an eye on us just to see how we actually progress? Yeah, I don't know. Photography, light, magic. You said radio waves travel at the speed of light. Now, what would happen if you could send a radio transmission faster than that? That's one of the things I'll be talking about. That's what that article I was telling you about. Yeah. Jack Ball TV said, hey, what's up? What's going on, man? Good to see you in there. Robert Morgan said, we used to call them squirt transmissions when using military radios. Yeah. I mean, and here's weird too. Here's what's weird too is, if you listen to a scanner or a shortwave receiver, even on the military bands, you'll hear birdies, right? You hear these wee 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 wee, all these weird sounds and all these and usually those are like what do they call them? I'm going to draw a blank here now. But basically they're birdies, and they could be like being thrown from other frequency bands, from other bands. So it's kind of weird how these things are. I mean, even if you were listening, let's say you had a nice large dish and you were out there, had a nice receiver to be able to, and you got something that came in, you'd be like, oh my God, there's something there. Would you be able to decipher it? No. But if these are light burst, then it's on a whole different realm of what we're receiving. SETI's listened to like X amount of frequencies every single day. Now, what if your dish was set up to accept light and then try to, we're going to use the term descramble, right? Or try to figure out what's in these actual transmissions. That's a whole different level, man. And I think that's what they're doing. But yeah, but we're not looking at it from there. We're just looking at radio transmissions, like in the gigahertz bands and stuff like that, and right down to the lowest spectrum. So yeah, I think we're looking at it all different way. And I think with this, I'm not sure. I didn't read a whole lot as far as the equipment or what bands this China giant. I used it. That's what I just read on here. China's giant alien radio. I'm sorry, alien hunting radio telescope is. Let me go ahead and make this page bigger. That's the problem. Whoops. Okay. There we go. Make this one bigger now. Made the other one bigger instead of that one. That's much better. China's giant alien hunting radio telescope is finished its testing, so on and so forth. We'd already read that. China's Central Television, CCTV, reports that so far, FAST has detected and identified 99 rapidly spinning neutron stars known as pulsars, more than 30 of which are especially fast-rotating millisecond pulsars. Yeah, but what else are they listening for? I mean, it says the search for extraterrestrial life and other scientific targets are also underway. Why do they believe there's aliens out there? These are and this is on space.com, right? Which is heavily affiliated with NASA. So they believe there's aliens out there. Even scientists state that. They're saying, yeah, I mean, is the chances of alien life out there is astronomical when you do the math, because there is. Well, I did this thing too small here. Here we go. That's better. And then that's too much. Let's just computer make its mind up. Here we go. Well, I was going to say the same thing, Robert. You said, Chris, the ancient Egyptians didn't build the pyramids; they found them. That's what I read too. And if you think about it, the actual Sphinx itself, they say that's much older than the pyramids too, as well. So, but they said they actually found them. They didn't actually build them. But again, there's an argument with that way too. Either way, right? Yep, Jim, you're also correct. Incas and or South American natives have giant signs that can be seen from space. Hieroglyphic writings. That's the same in the Egyptian pyramids and Roswell UFO and other. Yeah, I mean, you can see like from all over the world. They have like these either drawings on rocks and caves and different places. They have what look like aliens. Did they all like just dream this shit up, or is it real deal? You know. You're right, John. Yeah. The Sumerians have a map of the solar system and they are ancestors. How would they know what we are still finding out? Had to have intelligent life that has real data. Yeah, exactly. And, you can see the way that drawing is, the way they have them all laid out. And the funny thing about it is, when you read their text, not only did they know a rough estimate of the size of each planet, but they knew the color of them. What the? How do they know that? Think about it. Going to photography like magic. Look at all the money NASA has used over the years, and not so much as a microbe. We found loads of shit, and it didn't cost a coin. Well, and that's the thing, well, we're finding it because I think they're allowing us to find it. Because if that's the case, if you're going to blur something out, why don't you just blur it all out? Unless these guys are just, like I said, maybe they're just half asleep. That still looks like a rock. Keep going. You know what I mean? And off they go to the next part of the photo. I don't know. George, you said, George Mayer, you said, whatever happened on Mars when it was destroyed, the aliens won't want the same to happen to us. Also, the aliens will have bases on Earth and the moon and throughout our solar system. Yeah, I mean, if you already travel in space, it's no big deal to travel to any planet. And most people say, well, you can't live on that planet. It's gaseous and this and that. That doesn't mean that they can't live there. I mean, they just have their own atmosphere inside of the dome or underground or whatever it may be, right? Maybe they can draw oxygen or whatever the air that they breathe. Um, whatever it is that they breathe, it can maybe their technology could filter out some of that stuff and pull it out. Just like you can pull water out of the air. So maybe it's something similar to that kind of thing, right? Who knows? Supreme Rulers in the house. Good to see you in there, man. You said hello, folks. Cool. Get to catch the end. What did I miss? Oh, there's quite a bit of stuff we were talking about. Philip, I didn't even see you sneaking in either. Hello, Chris. How are you? That last one on Mars, those pipes look like a refinery pipes to me, and that carved rock, some kind of a statue. I listened to shortwave. Yeah, I agree with you. I've got one right here. I've got an older radio here. It's a DX400 realistic shortwave radio, and it covers pretty good. And I've got a long wire outside, so I listen to a lot of the bands. I haven't done a whole lot of listening, probably quite a while now, but I've got it sitting right here. I just, listen periodically. But like I said, I got a long wire outside, and of course I got my Yaesu over here, so I can listen to the ISS at times when it does come over. It doesn't even have to come over my house, guys. I got a good antenna outside. I mean, I've seen this thing. I've tracked it going towards. You go on their site and you can track the ISS, and it's next to Michigan. I can hear them like loud and clear here. Just comes in screaming through here. You can see the signal meter go right up to almost 30 S units and then drop back down once it's out of the area completely. Josh Devon says, "Hey, they're tapping into your computer." Wouldn't doubt it. Frack, what's going on? Good to see you in there, man. He said, "Keep up the great work, Chris." Well, I appreciate that. Good to see you in there. You just jump in there. Booger Kara. I just watched your last video and it was a good video. I appreciate you saying that. Let's see. Yeah, Rachel is saying that Digger, carbon dioxide means the planet is heated. Didn't they teach us Earth's atmosphere is becoming heated by carbon dioxide causing global warming? Why are there contradiction here in information? Absolutely. Um, like I said, it's what they thought they knew about Mars that they were not totally correct, and now they're changing their story, or at least they're. I wouldn't say. I don't think all of it. Um, I don't think all of it is like a lie, right? In other words, they're finding out stuff as they go along as well. This is what they do. That's what science does, right? But as far as what they're finding, I think they already know, and I think they're there for that particular reason. It's kind of like the moon. They weren't up there for moon rocks. I just find that amazingly silly. I mean, they weren't up there for the moon. Now, maybe they were there to maybe collect the rocks next to these structures. Maybe if let's say these structures blew up or whatever, maybe they're finding pieces of this and they took that home. Or how did it affect the surrounding soil when this happened or whatever? Or they just want to see just how old the moon was. Funny enough, when you read about China, when they were up there, they're looking at these giant craters that when they were hit, they cracked open the ground itself or the mantle of the moon, and now they're trying to see they're like taking samples from it. Wait a minute, why do you care? Well, we want to see what's in the inner part of the moon, or do you guys already know that it's hollow somehow, or it's in fact intelligently made, or parts of it is, and that's what you're trying to figure out. I don't know. Last dinosaurs, and he said, "Hey, Chris, what's going on, man? Good to see you in there." Alien Hunter, what's going on, man? Good to see you in there. Didn't see you creeping there either. You said this movement, thanks to Chris and others, is gaining momentum. I cannot see stopping. Well, no, I mean, as long as there's information to go on, right? We will just continue to do that. So awesome. You know, and like I said, I'm not the only one doing this stuff. There's a lot of people doing it, which is good. And like I said, I get some good, like this last video I just did on Mars. There's a lot of researchers looking at it, and this is was my main goal when I first started this channel was to get more and more people to look into this stuff. You don't have to believe what I say. I always tell that to people. You don't have to believe a thing I say. I want to bring it to you, you make you aware of it, give you the link so you can analyze it, and then you say, I don't agree, or I do agree. It's up to you. You got your own mind, right? And when they get into it, they research it more and more, and they figure it out for themselves. It's not about me. I'm just like this middle guy, right? Bringing the photos. This is what's weird in it. What do you guys think? I mean, it's just that plain simple. And that's what I think it's always been about. And I've had people say, man, I've never got into this stuff until I seen your stuff. Now I've researched the hell out of these photos, whether it's the moon, Mars, whatever it may be. They're like totally, ass deep in it. Let's just put it that way. And they love it. So then they're all over it. And I was the same way. I was like looking at this stuff long before I did videos. And then I started watching the videos and some of them. I was like, man, there's a lot more people in the same mindset as me. My God, this is awesome. And that's what it's all about, right? Justy, yeah, that's pretty good. They should tap into your computer, Chris. They can learn something. Well, you can almost bet. And there was a guy, I think I told you this guy's last time. There's a way that some guy did this. He can actually see who was watching their videos, and NASA was one of them. Now, I don't know how he went about doing that because you can't really see who's actually watching it unless, of course, you got to yourselves, like you're on this live feed, right? And obviously, when you comment, clearly you watch the video. But to see these live feeds or other people that you don't see or don't comment, how do you know who's watching it? Well, this guy figured out a way, and he said NASA was one of them. I was like, no way. Wouldn't surprise me though. Again, if they were watching it, the only thing I can think of is that they're trying to get a consensus, and that's what I've always said, right? Um, so I think that's the case. They're trying to get a consensus of what people's feelings are. Like if they let out that little tidbit that looked like that, we can call it wrought iron, we can call it rebar, we can call it whatever we want. Whatever that was, it's like we let that out. Let's just see how many channels and see what these people got to say about it. And maybe that's how they're taking this weird consensus about what people think. I don't know. Eric Bliss says, come in, NASA whistleblower. Your time is up." Lucky Mo, yeah. What happens on Mars stays on Mars. That's NASA's secret motto. Well, I mean, maybe it's all got to do with they're just trying to figure out what happened to it first before, and then they can. Well, now whether they say whether there's um, structures on there or not, that remains to be seen, right? But if they can figure out what destroyed all of that, whether it's with themselves or whatever, then they go, okay, we know what to look out for as far as Earth. But not that they don't know that how we can kill ourselves off. We already know that. But um, did the civilization implode on itself? Because, like I said, there was a gentleman, I don't remember his name now, but he said there was a scientist who said, once a civilization gets so large that it can't help but to implode on itself, at some point, because it's like overreaches its boundaries, right, and it just kind of claps in on itself. So that's a good possibility, and that may be what happened to them. Who knows, right? Suzanne Ann, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Swampy McGee says NASA I'm sorry, Politrix, paying so many dicks to spew weird stuff on you. Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, the thing is, it's almost like I said, they leave like breadcrumbs, so to speak. It's almost like they want you to know. And I've said this before. It's almost like if you're inquisitive enough to want to know and really see what's there, they're going to leave like a little piece of something there for you to find. Now, is it to steer us in a certain way? Good possibility. Um, or is this like an experiment to see again, get a consensus of how what we're seeing on there and how we're reacting to it? Most people are like not framed. I mean, everybody's like, oh wow, that's cool. Man, I'd like to see more of that. So nobody's freaked out about it. So NASA, come up with the truth. Come on, man, spill it. You can do it. SE, he said, Chris, I will be changing my name. Just a heads up. Got to go look more professional. Ah, ain't nothing wrong with that, man. Yeah, just give us a heads up so we don't go, who's this guy? Renee, you made it in there. Good to see you in there. Default Dave UK. Hi, Chris. What's going on there, Dave? You said, just wanted to say thank you for all the effort and hard work, hard going into your videos. It's much appreciated. Well, I appreciate you saying that, man. And like I said, it's kind of like in my blood now, right? I just want to just get into this more and more. You know what I mean? Because it's something. Now, some people have said, "Oh, what do we do now? We know that they're lying to us. We see it in his photos. What do we do now? Exactly what we've been doing. Keep looking at the stuff and the evidence. Whether they're giving it to us or they're forgetting to block it out, whatever the reason is, we're still finding it. It's like a crackerjack box. You just don't know what you're going to find in it, right? So I think that's what's cool about it. I want to find out new stuff. I want to see new things that they've been hiding. And then again, we'll just put it all together. That's the way to look at it. And I just enjoy trying to find this stuff, right? John Devon, you said we will be able to get the full proof out of the pic. Next, they have to start showing the full motion videos. Waiting for that probably next year, like you speculate. Well, again, I think they've been taking videos and like I said, there's the regular NASA workers, and then there's the elite branch part, like the black ops kind of thing, right? And I think they've been watching the videos of it. I think they listen to sound on there, but they're not saying that, meaning no microphone. Again, though, this 2020 is supposed to have several microphones on it, so we'll see what happens with that. Of course, they claim it's going to be mostly for when they're coming in for a landing, which I don't understand why you put a microphone in there because how noisy would that be? So we know it's not just for that, right? We know it's going to be for much more. Can you imagine landing something on Mars for the first time with a microphone. You turn the sound on, and all you hear is like animals moving, or you hear birds or something weird. You hear wind, hear some kind of chirping in the background, everything else. You'd probably freak out. I mean, of course, I think they've already done this anyway, but they claim that they haven't and that there's no microphone on there. And they may be right. I don't know. But something tells me, again, if I was going to spend billions of dollars to send anything to Mars, any kind of equipment, the first two things I put on there is eyes and ears. That's the first two things I put on there. Why would you skip out a microphone? Makes no damn sense. It takes very little, information to upload. You're just taking a small sound bite of maybe 5-10 seconds. How much, room could that take to do that? Come on. I think they sent that a long time ago. I don't know why. What these brainiacs that are sitting around a table go, hey, I think we should put a spectrometer on there. Yeah, I think so too. Why don't we put a test equipment on there to test the soil? Hey, great idea. Well, we already got all kinds of cameras, right? We got the 2 mass cam and we got 17 other cameras on. Hey, great idea. Hey, why don't we put a microphone? Hey, you're an idiot. Go home. Come on. Nobody does that. You know damn good and well they probably put one of these things on a long time ago and know exactly what's flying around there, or if there is any animals or life they can hear. Because think about it, if you hear something, zzz, you point the camera, there you go. You can see whatever's flying or moving or, yeah. I don't know why they would not do that right from the word go. Timothy, to your question, you said, "Hey, Chris, are you wondering? Just wondering. I might have missed your show, but did BSA give you a formal apology over the air or personally? No, I'm not expecting it. He hasn't done that to any of his subscribers. He's jerked around with and basically, trashed. So yeah, I don't expect that. Nope, not waiting for one either. Don't care. Um, I have seen the movie Renee Cruz. I bit. Oh, you're talking about okay. Talking about Renee there. Alien Tenor, he has a great comment. He said, "Isn't it strange schools don't teach about the first so-called civilization, the Sumerians?" Well, that's true. How come? It's basically like a generalization, right? When they go back into history. Oh yeah, the pyramids in Egypt and just simple stuff. They don't really get into all that. I'm hoping they start doing that more and more. That would be awesome. 420 Alien. He said, "Gotta go, everyone. Have a great week. Thanks for the great vids, Chris." Well, I appreciate you being there, 420. Again, you guys must be coming in here late, like Eagle One. If you're looking for something, you're also going to listen for something. Absolutely right. That's what I'm saying. I don't know why the smartest people on the planet, at least according to what they've been saying, there's no microphone on any of these. It doesn't make any sense. I would not send anything up there. I would send something up there, and they probably did it right on the first lander, the Viking lander. Probably put a microphone on there right then and there. Come on, because think about it. You're gonna look out. Oh my God, the first views, at least on the ground, anyway. Earth views, Mars views. You're on the ground where you had flybys, you had orbiters and everything else. That's fine. You're looking down satellite wise, but when you're on the ground, you're taking a look around. You know, you would think you'd have eyes and ears. That would be the two first, pieces of equipment I'd put on there, and I'd make them. Man, I'd have the thing would be a bionic ear. Man, I'd be able to hear a fly fought from a mile away, and you know, and plus a really good camera. You'd put top notch. And how much weight could a microphone take? You're talking about a circuit board this big by an inch, or even if you wanted to make it even better, it's a super like air type thing, right? It would be like what? It'd weigh as much as 2 fingers. I mean, come on. You can't say it's about weight because it's got no weight to it. Yeah, I just find it hard to believe. Exactly, Robert. You said it takes less power for a microphone. Exactly. There's nothing to it. You can run it on a sleazy 3 volts, and you literally have just like the super air. You transmit the small audio clip like 5, 10 seconds just to see, do you hear anything? Shh, shh, nothing. Oh, just do it randomly, every hour, and just see if we pick anything up. Come on. Yeah, Kenneth Brockty said it's funny. 2 years ago, they said if you stood on Mars, your feet would be 65 degrees and your head would be about 40 degrees below degrees. Now it's 70 and blue skies. So they changed it to make themselves look smart. Well, or either that, they're actually coming out with it now where they're actually, you know what I mean? They're actually starting to say, okay, people are onto us, and more people are going. At some point, this information is going to get out. So we need to really start, letting this stuff out. I mean, so, was that slip up intentional uh, during the NASA live feed when they showed the InSight lander, when it showed the blue sky? Was it a slip up or did they do that purposely? Think about that a minute. These guys, again, they're not idiots. I mean, these guys are the smartest people on the planet working there, at least you would think. And yeah, you would think these guys would not let that kind of thing out of the bag, the cat out of the bag, as far as that went. Andrew Haberman, good to see you in there, man. He said devices that measure atmospheric gases have specialized filters that need to be changed regularly, which they cannot do on Mars. So I don't believe that their gas readings are anywhere near accurate. Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I've actually said this in, I think it was the last feed and maybe even the one prior to that, but they were talking about how um, there was this gentleman that had looked into the atmosphere, well, not the atmosphere, but the pressure on Mars, and they found it to be absolutely inaccurate because you could look at the REMS, is basically the weather station on Curiosity rover, and they found it because it's like X amount of millibars. Of course, you can find it in different you know different ways to read it, so to speak. But what they did was they looked into it and said this is totally BS. And so I guess they mentioned this to NASA. Suddenly their measurements have changed. They're not like they. So in other words, the measurements are nothing like they were saying. And I guess they really researched this and found out that NASA was just giving a false pressure reading on Mars. And I truly believe that. It's, they're just lying to the public because they go, well, they'll believe everything we feed them. Why not? But people are not dumb. They're starting to question them. And I think that more and more people need to put pressure on it. And I'm talking about, higher up scientists and stuff like that that are known scientists, because those are the people who are going to believe more than anybody. They sure ain't going to believe people that are doing these. Um, as far as like they're going to think of YouTube, what the hell does he know? No, but I know enough to say, hey, I can pull a photo apart and see that I'm being lied to. There's many people have been, looking into this stuff, and yeah. Well, yeah, supreme ruler to a certain degree. Yeah, it says actually a microphone will work without power. Power is needed for us to hear what it picks up. Well, yeah, I mean it's a component, right? So in a sense, it's non-functional in a sense without the actual amplifier because depending on what it's made of, because most of these, if you look at the regular like the old microphones where they had it's basically a coil and the vibrations cause impulses, and of course this amplifier reads it, so on and so forth. But um, the it's still a component. It's like saying, well, a carburetor it works fine on its own. Well, it doesn't. It's got a job to do, so it's part of a component. But you're right, still, no matter how you look at it. But to me, it's just like it takes so little power. It takes so little, informational or streaming to do like a 10-second audio bite to Earth. Come on, that is so lame. And like I said, uh, Yeah, I was just reading Robert. Would you put on there? Wouldn't you want to hear lightning strikes? Yeah, absolutely. So it's these things right off the bat. You want to hear the wind, and we know there's wind because there's temperatures. Well, according to them, it's the temperature swings that go like a pendulum, right? So it's like 70, 80 degrees. Sometimes it goes up to 100 degrees plus, and then right back to freezing, super cold. So I get them. If you think about it here on Earth, depending on the pressure, of course, it's got a lot of variables, but you would imagine the weather would be like totally insane every single night because extreme cold, extreme hot, well, not extreme hot, but cold, warm, so on and back and forth, this thing. So I don't know. I don't think they're even being accurate as far as that goes. Well, it's like 128 degrees below zero at night. I guess it could be like that because, like I said, if there is a lack of atmosphere, there's no blanket, so to speak, to hold any kind of radiation or heating. I get that. But if they're accurate about what they're telling us, then it would make sense because it's the same thing here on Earth. But if they're not, well, then all that shit goes out the window. Yes. Yeah. Just he said, Christy, did they not let us hear Wind on Mars some time ago? I can remember that. Anyone else did hear this? Yeah. They did, but what it was, if you're talking about the insight, now the insight was there's actually two audio recordings. One was by I think it was the Spirit rover, the Opportunity, where it was literally driving on the ground, but the instruments were picking up the vibrations. Now the same thing applies with the Insight. The Insight, they had the seismometer. According to them, the seismograph was still on deck of the Insight lander. Now they hadn't taken the crane yet and set it on the ground, but they said the wind going by and going over the actual solar panels were causing a vibration, and that's what they were picking up. I think that seismometer was already on the ground, and they picked those up. If they did, that's when we heard the sounds coming and going. Now, again, that may be pure speculation. That might be just total garbage. It might be actually a Marsquake or a thunderstorm, like we were just saying. Because you hear a thunder, gets loud, it rumbles, and it goes down. So that could be. Um, so I'm not sure. It just raises a lot of questions, and it's stuff that people need to just keep aware of and just keep reading up on it and see if just research it, and you'll find all this information out. Right, Valerie, what's going on? Valerie Hockbirth, what's going on? Good to see you in there. We jumped onto the bottom here, so Swampy McGee said, "How much outer space truth is YouTube, Google really looking for?" I don't know if you're talking individually, like channels or whatever else, but um, it depends. I mean, again, they could be using. I think they could be using channels like mine as pawns, right? What they're doing is they're trying to figure out what the people, the consensus of what they're trying, what you're seeing in these photos. Is it possible they're looking at it going, "Hey, they found something on there. Who knows? Maybe they didn't block everything out, and they're just like, oh well, they found that. But what did they say about it? Do they think it's something else? Do they think it's this? I don't know. It's weird. It makes you wonder if they actually are actually looking at this stuff or listening in on what we're talking about. And I believe the answer would be yes. Philip, all right, man. Good seeing you. It's good seeing you in there as always. You said, Chris, take it easy. I have to go. See you later. Well, we'll be closing pretty soon anyway. So I appreciate you being here, Philip. They just jumped up again. Kenneth Proctor, yeah, great comment. You said, I wonder how fast technology will change if they release the untouched pictures from Mars, like the moon race. We went from tubes to transistors. Yeah, and if you remember, we had hybrids too, both tubes and transistors. But yeah, but you could see the difference, how everything was big, bulky, like the TV sets back in the day. Now, I remember back in the 80s, they had one you can put on, it was on a wristwatch, and it was a screen. Because it went to a bigger, like the tuner and everything else would be in your pocket or whatever. But still, they had it back in the freaking 80s. So the technology was there to do that. But now, maybe it was too costly to make those at the time, right? But now, man, my God, man, it's like you can bet, you know, any country that's not part of the program, we'll use that. If they did release some of these things, I think it'd be good if they did because all the other countries that are in on this would say, "A, okay, we can finally release this information." The ones that are not in the loop, so to speak, they'll be wanting to go there and then find out their own information and then tell the people. So I think, I think it's a good thing. I think they should actually release the information. I don't think that's a problem with it. If they wanted to say, how about this? Guys, we actually not only did we find what looked like, they can play it off. We finally came around this ridge and we were totally dumbfounded. We found something that looks intelligently made. They can just play it off, but then people go, well, what about all the stuff we've been seeing in these photos? Well, we didn't make nothing of it. We thought it was just, just rocks jumbled up together. So we didn't think nothing of it. I mean, lie their ass off for all I care. But the thing is to me, it's just like, but come out with the truth. We finally came down this, what looked like it was, let's say a walkway. It looked like concrete. And then we came around this ridge or whatever. And all of a sudden we seen these, what look like stone structures completely demolished. Okay. I don't think people are going to jump off buildings for hearing that. They're just going to be like, okay, that's cool. I mean, they're going to be like, wow, tell me more. But yeah, will they do it? That's a whole different story. Yeah, Rachel, you got to love them phones. You said damn phone messes my message up sometimes. Oh yeah, get that autocorrect. You're like, that's not what I meant to say. Yeah, Timothy Mellinson. Yeah, you said in there. Yeah, Chris. We should call that watch the Dick Tracy watch. Remember? Yeah, remember that? And where they had Dick Tracy was like talking into it and stuff like that. Imagine that. We got that today. Just like if you guys remember that song from Hagar and Evans when the year 2525, they were talking about test tube babies. When did the song come out? Yeah, you'd be able to pick your child, woman or boy or girl. Remember that way back in the day? Imagine that. Deeper look, he said, what could be causing the seasonal increase in oxygen at Gale Crater on Mars? Well, plants, plant life. What else could it be? They take in carbon, they give off oxygen, you know? And again, seasonal, that's the key question, or that's a key word rather. Seasonal, things grow. And of course, what gives off oxygen? Everything on this planet, if it inhales, it's carbon. Everything inhales oxygen, except for trees, stuff like that. That's why they say talk to your plants because it helps them grow. It keeps them healthy. Roy Searles, good to see you, there, man. Glad you stopped in. He said, "Hey guys, got to go. Have a good weekend and see you next week." You do the same, man, and have a good one. Well, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Swampy McGee said 50 trillion secret space program in love with slow disclosure, raping your mind in so many ways. Well, I don't know if I'd call it raping my mind. It's kind of like I think it's effing with it, and everybody else's, because the information's there. It's kind of like people say, well, they lie. So why do you believe anything they say? And that's a great question. But even a liar has to tell the truth sometimes. Like the old term, read between the lines, and you'll find the truth. Well, it's the same thing here. It implies because those are real pictures, but they're also heavily doctored. And again, I have proof to show that. And I've been right all this time. And about the rovers technology on those too. Pretty interesting read. Um, so I'm trying to get something going with that, and I'd love to get that kicked off because that would be interesting to have that person on my channel to talk about it. That'd be great. So I'm going to try, and if not, I'm going to just go ahead and make a video of it, and then you guys get to read this, and you'll be like, boom, blown away. Because these aren't people like other YouTubers talking about. These are actual science guys, and the guy that actually does programming in NASA and everything else. So really awesome. So yeah, I wouldn't call it that. I'd say read between the lines, and that's what's. In other words, don't believe everything they say because clearly it's BS. But you got to read between the lines to find the truth, right? Long live the scrutinizers. Well, are we all correct? That's the key word, right? Are we all correct about what we're finding? Probably not. That's why we speculate, right? That's what it comes down to. But that doesn't mean it's any less real. It's whatever it is whatever it is. We're just speculating what it is. I wish we could actually find out. I wish we can literally go up there and go, oh, well, that looks like a cup, so therefore it is. We can actually handle it. We can't. So I just call it pure speculation no matter what. We could find an actual structure. I mean, clear as day. And you still would have to doubt it because you're saying, well, was it something thrown in? Was it this? Was it that? You can only speculate as to what it looks like, but you can't confirm it because there's no way to be there. So yeah. Whoops, hit the microphone here. Yeah, Digger. Yep. Star Trek had flip phones back then. You remember the communication? Hello. But all of that stuff, even in like Deep Space Nine and all of these shows way back in the day, like even well, even let's go way back, like Space 1989, Star Trek, things like that. Even Lost in Space. I mean, it was all dreamt up, but I mean, now there's a lot of that stuff that technology has actually come to fruition. It's actually real in some form or another, right? So, yeah. William Johnson says disclosure will make people more interceptive about life. Bring this up here. There you go. Noodles, you're right about that. You said John Ward rather finds many Mars structures. Absolutely, I love the satellite stuff that he does. John Ward does a really good job. That's why I recommend his channel because he's finding things on there that look like tops of stone structures, things that I mean they're blocks. They look megalithic and everything else. Really good channel, and I always recommend seeing it. Just John Ward is the name of his channel. Really good stuff. So if you guys get a chance, jump on over there to check him out. Good stuff. The troll has come back. Zero OM or whatever. I wonder who that could be. Funny as hell. People are a trip. Rachel said emo, hair flip phone. Not sure if you got that part of the joke, but yeah, that's what I meant. You're right, the MD Masek. Put in there or Masick, depending on how you pronounce it. Think about where technology came from, how fast it grown the past 50 years. Where did it come from? Wasn't there hundreds of years before 50 years ago? Well, I mean, again, it jumped by leaps and bounds. As soon as they decide, well, learn how to make an IC or an integrated circuit, if you look at those now they have it's basically SMC, which is a surface mount component, even smaller. And if you think about like in these little watches and stuff like that, and all of these, little phones and stuff like that connect to your actual cell phone, your smartphone, just the technology has jumped leaps and bounds. It's insane. So what's it going to be another 50 or 100 years? Because of the technology, I mean, now it's just snowballing. I mean, it's just like coming out of it's like out of control. Um, you know, just the stuff that they're coming out with is awesome. And I like to see it in the next 50 years. Watch what happens. I even told my son the other day. I said, "That phone you got in your hand, that'll be so obsolete. It'll be like you just look at it and laugh at it. Be like, what the hell is that? That's sad. Now it's going to be an implant. It's going to be in your head. You're just going to get all the information. You just buy any kind of I was going to say sci-fi, Wi-Fi. You can walk by it and just you go, man. I'm just thinking about I wonder where that how that truck was made. You download it right into your head. You already know. Phone's going to be a thing of the past. It's going to be a joke. Suzanne Ann, you said, thanks, Chris. A great Sunday morning chat. Aren't they releasing JFK files? I heard something about that. I'm not sure, though. He's going to tell the world thugs or something like that, I think he's saying. Um, yeah, exactly. Bush Corey. Trolls, idiots, equals idiots. Yeah, that one who just stopped by was the biggest idiot. I think we all know who that is. Um, sad. Sad individual. Yep. Lewis, you said science fiction inspires science fact. Absolutely. It can be thought of, it can be made. I can almost promise you, one way or the other can be done. Renee, yeah, I forgot about that too. Buck Rogers, television series, The Little Robot Twiggy, and it says bitty bitty bitty. Yep, that's too funny. Noodles, yeah. I don't even know what that is. Zero M, whatever, 5 subs. Yeah. Um, yeah, we can always probably guarantee who that is anyway. But regardless, it's always that, what I find amusing is I think these guys, they take the time to come out and they'll sit there and type, they'll type, they'll type. And then this guy, it literally takes me 2 seconds to go by. What's the point? If you don't like the what's on the channel or the live feed, why even be here at all? It's like me. I don't spend my time on anybody else's channel if I don't want to watch it. I just go where I want to. You know what I mean? I don't even if I don't approve of what they're talking about, it could be anything. And I just don't bother watching it, right? Um, let me see. Whoops, it just jumped on me here. In a nutshell, Andrew, you're right. They are not phones. They are actually computers with a phone app. Well, pretty much everything's an app, right? Whether it's an APK or whatever it may be. They're all just apps running on a software, iOS or whatever it may be, and Android. It's just that's your software, but everything runs off the software. So yeah. Remo Cohan, you said, Chris, the smartest thing about people is their phones. I'm not even so sure about that. Who's that said that smartphones are making people stupid? Um, because they're just like banking on the thing at all times. I mean, they're just they're literally just saying, well, I use this for certain things, but I don't go on this thing 24/7. I could care less. Um, let me see. Um, I'm just looking at some messages on there. But to me, I like to use my head. That's the first computer you should be using. I don't depend on this because when that thing takes a dump, and then you're like, you don't know how to function without it. That's what I'm saying. It's just like I'd rather not use it if I don't have to. Yeah, Valerie, get that right. Don't be chipped either. Well, the thing is, it's almost like they're trying to sneak that in, right? Trying to, it's like, oh, you need your vaccinations and this, that, and the other. Next thing you know, boom, you get a little something in you, a little locator device, and people, of course, people claim that. I've never seen anybody with one or somebody come forward with one, but still, it's just it's pretty funky. Yep, learn the neural link exactly, Swampy McGee. Basically, what a lot of people are trying to come out with. First, they wanted to have like that visor, like what's his name on Star Trek. They're trying to have it so you can actually see everything online. So you just literally put it on. You just kind of look around. You can just point at certain things and just click on it, and it's all right there in a visor, kind of thing. Random guy, what's going on, man? Good to see you in there. Hello from Calgary. All right, Susan, good seeing you. And I said, love to all have to go. Thank you, Chris, and love to all. Well, you have yourself a good weekend there, right? Glad you stopped in. I didn't hear anything about that. MC Gamer, you said supposedly the gray aliens who were captured by the military from crashed UFOs die from flea bites in their custody. I didn't hear anything about that. It's pretty odd. Annette Smith, you put on there space pods more likely went in all directions once the planet blew. Well, yeah, I mean, or they just already, they already knew, like kind of like us, like we're trying to make life on Mars. Of course, we may be returning there, if you get what I mean. But let's suppose we're not. It's our first time we want to colonize. Okay, again, having the civilization on both planets is a good thing. It'll ensure the alien. Well, it's going to say if it was them, it was alien life. They would ensure them if they moved to here. So, I think at one time, and it's pure speculation, that we had life on both planets. We were going back and forth, and one of them just took a hit. And maybe we knew about this all maybe in ancient texts too, right? But we knew that they were coming and going back and forth, and something happened to Mars. And now, obviously, this might have happened millions of years ago. Who knows? And and this was just something we're learning now, and we're going back and we're seeing all the destruction on the planet. I don't believe that was millions of years ago that destruction happened. I think it was just recent, to be truthful with you. Because, like I said in the last video about Mars, I said, well, if the wind is what they claim, why would any of these rocks have the details that they have on them? It would literally wipe the edges right off of these. It'd be like basically, smooth surface rocks, most of them, right? Because it's such a wind wearing them down. It's like you might as well be in a sandblaster. And if this is over millions upon millions of years, there's no life, then yeah. I mean, you would think every rock would have a smooth face to it. Hell, even the layered rocks in these mountains would be a lot smoother. I don't know. Yes, Libby T. Jordy. Yep. Has her on his eyes. Remo, you said, Chris, 1967 Sandra Channel. Have you seen this guy's video on the Clementine imaging? It's a theory. He says that there's a New York size height and width mining machine on the moon. Oh, that wouldn't surprise me. I mean, if you were to take anything from Earth and put it on the moon, how much would it weigh? So you could build quite large on that planet, or on the moon rather, because we're thinking of planets right now. We're talking about planets, but you could build something quite large on the moon because it would weigh nothing compared to on Earth. So you can really build large, and it really wouldn't cave in on itself because it's so done. It would be a lot lighter, right? So it would not surprise me in the least bit. Which Corey, you said getting a lot of interference and buffering tonight. I think NASA are doing something. I'm looking at the live feed right now. And of course, it's delayed. It's going to be, which I expect. But I'm not seeing it like being choppy or anything. It seems to be working fine on this end. Because, like I said, I'm actually broadcasting from this one, and I'm seeing what you guys are seeing on this one through YouTube, and it seems like it's pretty still. I mean, pretty fluent. Doesn't seem like it's locking up or anything. That would be pretty neat. Kenneth Proctor, you said Mars would be a good, great VR game. Just exploring the Google with Google Mars. Absolutely, that would be pretty neat. Yeah, Jim, there's more than one thing they've been seeing on there, like that shard you're talking about. Have you heard of the shard of or Needle Point Tower 4 miles high on the moon? Moon structures are, I believe, alien. The tech is different and buildings are strange. Yeah, they're like I said, when I've done videos about the moon, people expect to see the same structures. Ah, it's a bunch of crap, man. It's just the surface of the moon. No, no, it's not. Because when you study this stuff and look at it closely, that's why I tell everybody to use a magnifier. You can see what looks like little roads and little structures and things lined up with each other on the surface. Just look at it really closely, and you can see these crazy looking things. And that's why I give you guys the links. And a lot of times I'll try to put it up on my Twitter page or the other page I might just give you a link to so you can actually download it stuff yourself, like Flickr page. I got my Flickr page. And what I'll do is I'll have you guys go up there and have a look at it. And it's already enhanced. And just take your magnifiers, look at it. And you can just stuff is like right there. I mean, you can't miss it. So yeah, it's There's a lot of things that need to be seen, and a lot of people just assume that they're going to be structures like ours. Why would you assume that? If it's another race, maybe they built in the way because of the gravity would be different. So they don't have to build like us, and they don't have to. I mean, and who knows? Maybe they come up with a lot better technology and or a different way to build stuff that's stronger. You can't make the assumption that they're going to build like us. Now that doesn't mean they won't build like us, but you just can't make that assumption that they do, right? Let me see what else we got here. Yep. You said Noodles. You said Alien Hunter was here for a while. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, anybody who hasn't seen his channel, go check it out. It's pretty good stuff. Noodles. Whoa, what's the emoji limit? Six. TC, you said, Chris, I love the chats. Thanks for taking the time to hang out with us. Yeah, it's always awesome you guys all come here, and even though we got to deal with a couple of trolls that are immature and don't have anything better to do, but I don't care. I think it's comical, and I think we all have a kick out of it. In fact, a lot of you guys just ignore them, and I do the same. I just get a kick out of them, just throw them off. But anyway, guys, I'm going to jump on out of here myself. It's already 7:50. Been on here for 2 hours and almost 50 minutes. Getting there. But anyway, guys, it's always awesome to spend the time with you guys. Like I said, it's just, like I said, I just make sure I got plenty of time to get in here and get here with you guys. I love the support you guys show. There's nothing better on YouTube as far as I'm concerned. Great bunch of people. Can't say it enough. I mean, it's funny because I'll just sit there and I'll be talking. I'll just see you guys going back and forth. That's why I'll pause because I'll see you guys actually talking. And I want to make sure it's not like directed at me, like a comment or question. So I'll actually pause. And so I'll just look and I'll go, oh, okay, they're talking with each other. So it's cool that you guys go back and forth, sharing comments and stuff like that. I don't see that too much on other, live feeds and stuff like that. I do because a lot of people do get along and stuff like that. But you just got a great bunch of people here. So you guys I enjoy spending time with you guys. Anyway, you guys all have a great night, a good weekend. And just look out for some more videos coming up. I got some cool ones. In fact, I might be doing another one, a short one about that GigaPan we just had done. Something else I found in there was pretty interesting. I don't know if you guys, a lot of you guys found some other different stuff on there, which is great. In fact, you guys are just saying you spent hours on the thing just trying to find all of the stuff on there. Just so much to see. So, but I seen a couple other things that are pretty interesting. I may do a little quick second part on that just to show you what I found. But other than that, we're just going to roll out more Moon, some more Mars, and kick it out there for you guys. Anyway, guys, like I said, have a good night and good morning. Some of you guys are already in morning time, so have a great day. And thanks for all the support. And, like I said, the monetary support as well. It's always appreciated. You guys know that. But anyway, like I said, everybody have yourself a good night in there, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.